Hey guys, it's RJ. Today on Bread and Circuses, we've got Kevin. He's from the network. We got Rico from the documentary. I never even got the free candy. We got Bruce. Bruce is going to be telling us a little bit about his Blues Brothers shit. And then coming on later, we got Lou, and I guess they all work together. So
yeah, we have all met each other at the same job. But yeah, Bruce, welcome.
Blues Brothers shit, man.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
He's a soul man.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could say I'm a soul man. I don't play any blues. I just sing mostly. Yeah, I do play guitar, just not well.
Okay.
I like to consider myself like a campfire guitar player. You know, I play some chords and whatever, but for the most part, it's just I get paid to go to these places and act ridiculous and then sing a few songs, and that's it. It's a pretty sweet gig.
It sounds, yeah, I get jealous every time you talk to me about it, especially what you got to throw out the first pitch at a minor league baseball game.
Yeah, we did that just last week. We were at the West Virginia Power Stadium.
Well, no, it was West Virginia Power or the West Virginia White Power?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. That might be a different minor league team that I've seen in West Virginia.
Yeah, no,
What part of Virginia is this? I need to stay away from there.
Most of it.
The West Virginia parts.
Did you see the
I
episode
really
of
liked
Top
Virginia
Gear?
Beach the one time I went there. The people were nice.
You're gonna have to speak up, man. I didn't hear anything you just said.
Oh, I said I really liked Virginia Beach the one time I went there.
That's probably
People
Is that in West Virginia?
Virginia Beach.
Yeah,
Damn,
I would
are we
think.
gonna have to start a geography show?
I guess.
'Cause I'm running out of
Yes,
time in the week.
I don't know my
Isn't
geography.
there like a West Virginia and like a
It should
South
be
Virginia?
in Virginia.
South Virginia, East
I
Virginia.
don't know.
I thought Virginia Beach was in Virginia, like where DC is.
It probably is.
I would think so.
I was like 10 when I went, so
Jesus
I'm probably wrong.
We are definitely off to a great start. So you went to a minor league. So you, besides throwing out the first pitch, you did a few other things at the West Virginia Power game, didn't you? Were you like on the dugout? And
Yeah, we danced on the dugout, and actually before the game, we did sing a couple songs, which was awesome, by the way, because being like a semi-pro stadium, you'd think that they'd have their shit together, but I got a microphone and it was handed to me turned off, but they told me it was on, so the music started, and I'm just like,
fucking lip syncing.
and there's nothing coming out of the microphone, because it's off.
yeah.
So, like the first verse, I completely missed because I'm just like, hit the microphone. Like,
The guy with the headphones on
nothing's
had to
coming
fucking hate
out.
that.
Huh?
The guy with the headphones on had to fucking hate that shit.
No, he didn't know because
Oh.
the microphone was off. That's the whole point I'm trying
Oh,
to make.
okay.
Way to pay attention, RJ.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, we did a couple songs on the dugout before the game. We did first pitch. And I have terrible aim. So I never know where the ball's going to go once it leaves my hand. So Elwood throws his first pitch on the pitcher's mound, and he like gets it right to the catcher, hits the ground right before it gets to him. And then I throw my first pitch, and before I like release, I run up halfway between the pitcher's mound and home plate, and I throw the ball, and it still goes like 20 feet the wrong way, but I got it to him. So I would call it a success.
I think so. See, I would have enjoyed that showmanship. Like you made it. You see people throw a first pitch every baseball game. How often do you see a guy kind of like Three Stooges way into it? Like
Right.
the whole fake throw run. I think it added some entertainment value.
I agree because a lot of people laughed, and then I actually got a couple comments like, "What a wimpy pitch!" I'm like, I didn't pay to come here. I got paid to come here. So who's really winning in this situation?
Right. It's
I'm
like
not shallow. I just love money.
Nothing wrong with that.
Put that out there right now.
no, there is nothing wrong with that. And again, it's not like you were getting paid there to play baseball.
Right.
So I mean, I imagine if the left fielder had come out to sing a Blues Brothers song, they probably would not have done a very good job. Maybe. I mean, who
Maybe.
maybe their left fielder's Bobby McPherson. I don't know,
That's a good point.
but probably
It is
not.
minor league.
It is
Yeah,
minor
it's
league.
minor league now. don't think
Well,
so.
I found something out interesting, which I think I told Kevin earlier, was when I was there, someone was telling me on the home team, there's this guy from Cuba, and he told them that he was 21, but they swear that he doesn't look younger than 30 years old. So they were telling me that some of these guys that they recruit out of the country say that they're younger than they actually are, so they get paid more.
And can they like
That's-
stay there longer?
Yeah, they can stay there longer because they added an extra 10 years to their lifespan.
Do they ever get caught? Like,
You know what?
The
I have
miracle
no
of
idea.
steroids.
I think they do at times get caught because it has been a story before in the majors with certain like Dominican or just certain players that have come in from overseas where they find out that they're a couple years older than they thought that they were, and where it really gets into being a scam is people do that in the Little League World Series all the time, and they get in trouble for it. Even American teams have been caught using like 14-year-olds in the Little League World Series. And
What's
like
the age cap?
12.
wow.
So just imagine, I mean, we all probably played Little League at least at one point, or
Yeah,
at
I
least played
hated
some
it.
kind of youth sport. And it's you might hear it and think, oh, what's the big deal if there's, but a 14-year-old, who has had 2 extra years to grow can probably throws the ball a lot harder, and hits it a lot farther.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. So it gets a lot more attention there, but in the minors, I was interested to hear about that because I didn't realize that was still a thing that was going on.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm kind of like, I just tip my cap to them because like, good, get in the league, get your money. That's the only way you're gonna get it, and it's not like pro sports has an ageism lawsuit they can worry about where you can't discriminate anyone over 40. I learned that at work. You got to be nice to people over 40, or you might catch a lawsuit. If like you can't call someone over 40 old. Like that's a crazy thing. You can't do that stuff. So they can't do that.
Oh,
in
like
sports.
just in the workplace, you
Like
can't call them
just
old?
in a work, like that's just a general rule. Like that is, you can't. But like in sports, if you're too old, you're done. You're not protected by that. Go get your money, like whatever. So
That's hilarious.
it's very interesting.
But they kind of have ways to weed that out in sports. Like if you're older, you just can't compete as well sometimes.
Yeah, maybe you can't keep unless you're like Randy Moss, or
But if you can't compete in the workplace elsewhere, they're totally okay to just be like, oh, we got to keep them.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess they
That's
shouldn't.
fucked up.
Maybe they shouldn't condone them lying about their age, but at the same time, it's.
Oh
one of
no,
those
I
things
was
where it's
condoning
like,
it.
Oh,
I was just
okay.
saying it should carry over it. But like, if you're allowed to be that way in that, you should be able to be that way in the regular workplace too. Like they just can't keep up. Why do you have to keep them on?
Oh yeah, well no, it's
There'd be a lot more people working at McDonald's though.
It's yeah. Who knows? But
Some
so
senior citizens would love
besides
Oh, yeah.
baseball games, you've done what? I know you missed out on.
Oh, we're back to me now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're back to you now. This is how this works. We come back just whenever.
Full circle kind of thing.
I was half listening about the baseball thing.
That's okay.
I don't know. We can talk about. So last week, I had 3 shows in a row. I had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday was the baseball game, and the other 2 shows were one was at a county fair and the other one was at a community arts center. And you have diverse crowds everywhere you go, and some people react better than others. I'll tell you what, going to a Blues Brothers show is an excellent place to pick up 50-year-old women. I'll tell you what.
Let me get my pen and paper.
Get you a cougar, man.
Yeah.
I tell friends all the time I do shows, and they're like, "Oh, you must like get with a lot of women," and I'm like, "No, I have a lot of women who like want to make sure I'm okay and like ask how my mom's doing and want to make me food and take care of me. You're getting so thin. You should eat."
This all sounds fantastic.
Why aren't you going on more dates?
Huh?
I would be taking all of them out, or they'd be taking me out.
Well, it's
Exactly.
just, I don't know. See, personally, I'm allowed to have an age cap,
That is true.
so I age discriminate all the time.
See, and that right there is an example of freedom. It's your choice. I will say, so I can kind of relate to you on that. There was one instance where an older woman attempted to pick me up at the bar, and at first,
What's older?
I was in college. Well, that's kind of part of it. Is she looked older, and I was like, okay, and I was totally cool with it. And then at one point, she asked me my age, and I, in turn, got her age out of her. And when she told me she was 44, well, at that time, my own mother was only 42. And so I could not bring myself to do that. And I really felt disappointed in myself because I was like, man, I was all about it. And then I found out she was older than my mom, and I was like, man,
You bigot.
I had a mental block about it. I just couldn't get past that one.
But she was hot still?
Hot enough. I can't remember how many whiskeys I.
Cross it off
When you're at that point in the night, yeah, it was gonna work. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
She should have lied.
And it was like she just chucked a
Maybe
stone
she
at my
did.
glass house, and it just shattered.
Oh man, do you look back and be like, man, I wish I didn't.
I mean, no.
I wish I wasn't such a bigot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no.
We're gonna
learn a lot then.
I was a little
Could've.
excessive when I used the term bigot. I wouldn't say that.
No,
was
Kevin's a
big.
bigot. Kevin is definitely a bigot.
Yeah, absolutely. And a real sexist too. Just purely try to internalize it.
So the Blues Brothers really likes to hone in on family values.
Yeah. We promote that.
So like, you travel a lot though, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's the farthest you've gone, or what's the like?
Okay, so I've only been doing this for, let's just say 2 years.
Let's just
started.
say.
Let's just say 2 years.
Okay.
Let's round up. So
A little political talk over here.
my my partner, Elwood, we'll call him Elwood, who's the other Blues brother, in case you don't know, because you look like you're 12.
Oh!
Shots fired.
Slammed at Rico. For those of you not in the room.
So Elwood has been doing it since he was in college, and he's mid-40s, so he's been doing it for 20 plus years now.
He's been slaying all the cougar dragons, I bet.
Yeah, we don't sleep anywhere near each other just for cross-contamination reasons.
Yeah.
From all the
Because they got the old diseases and the new diseases.
yeah.
They got the shit you didn't know there was anymore.
No, it was funny as Elwood's socially awkward in real life as he is portrayed by my buddy that plays him. So
Oh, wonderful.
yeah,
So that's
Aykroyd actually has Asperger's. Is it Asperger's or Asperger's?
I say
I've always
Asperger's.
had
Asperger's.
Asperger's, but
Asperger's?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also funnier as Asperger's. It sounds a lot more scientific as Asperger's.
In what way?
It doesn't have the word ass in it.
Okay.
science.
So Dan, I said his name. Elwood.
Dan Aykroyd is what you said.
But his name is actually Dan.
Dan
too.
Aykroyd
My buddy is Dan.
is
too.
Dan Aykroyd. I know. He's
Yeah,
a good
okay.
guy.
All right,
Yeah, I'm
whatever.
trying to help you over here.
Well, I'm not going to say his last name, so
Because it's Aykroyd. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's all right. We're good.
whatever.
Okay.
So
Get a signature.
Elwood was in a. Oh, you help me out. I get it. Elwood was in a car accident. Well, he wasn't in a car accident. He got hit by a car. Let me rephrase that.
That's
When he was in
was it not
college-
accidental?
No.
Oh, go on.
No, it was accidental.
Oh, okay.
Damn it! I wanted to get hit in real life.
Well, he was in a car accident, but he was not in the car. He was hit by a car. That's what
Okay.
the point I'm trying to say.
Accidentally, right?
Accidentally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, man, it's a play on
So
words,
close.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So he was. He used to give tours, college tours for. They would get in a bus, go somewhere, and he was one of the tour guides. And he was crossing this bridge, which, by the way, Darwin Award for him because this is like a 4-lane bridge in a major metropolitan area. And the bus is pulled over to the side of the road to like sightsee or something. And he's like, well, I'm going to go out of the bus and walk across this bridge and pretend to do something on the other side of the bridge. So he goes across the bridge, makes it safely, derps around for a second, gets his laugh, whatever he was doing, at this point I stopped paying attention. I was waiting for the juicy stuff. So as he's walking back across the bridge, he gets hit by a car and like breaks his leg and goes to the hospital, hits his head, messed him up big time.
That's
so
wild.
I know, right? So he has like the speech impediment and he walks with a limp. I call it swag. Tomato.
It's all about how you look at it.
But when he does the Blues Brothers stuff, he's jumping around and he does cartwheels and he's acting crazy. Like, you would not know that this guy is socially awkward and has a limp. It's he like
It's like a switch goes off.
like Willy Wonka. It's ridiculous. Like
Yeah, okay.
legit.
That's now you've got the visual for me.
Yeah.
Now I see.
Yeah.
Can we have a clip of what he's talking about on Willy Wonka? Because I have no idea.
You want to see the? Oh
I have-
yeah.
Is this
yes.
new Willy Wonka or old Willy
This
Wonka?
is old Willy
This is
Wonka.
Old Gene
Okay.
Wilder Willy Wonka.
I watched the shit out of this one.
In my eyes,
You
there
did?
is only
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
I loved it.
I'm proud of you, Rico. You actually got a one up on RJ over here.
I haven't seen that movie since like 6th grade. Like,
I
I
should
know
watch
it
it at
was
least
so
once a
fucking
year.
good.
It has a lot of good values in it.
I never even
Is that why
realized
I
all the
lost all of them?
murders.
Yes.
is it the lack of Willy Wonka that's done me in?
Everyone needs a little Willy Wonka in their life. Yeah.
Everyone needs a little Willy in there.
Is that his like tagline to slay the cougar? Like to get her home? Is that what he says?
No.
like
everyone,
limps off
needs
with her?
everyone needs a little Willy.
Yeah.
That's a good one. No.
What do you mean?
That. Okay, so
I believe I've got it.
are you?
Rico, do you need to see
available
this?
for
I need to
everyone?
move.
This will
now.
be available for our viewers only. For you audio people, we'll just have to keep talking you through it.
Yeah, I
Here
can
we go.
narrate for you. So,
So we're at the steps.
yeah, we're
Just
at
watch the
front
clip.
gates of Willy Wonka's factory.
Actually, yeah, if you're listening to the audio, this is an excuse to check out our YouTube channel, so do it. We'll do it
On
meow.
Wonka's grand entrance.
Yeah.
Everyone's waving. Hello, Mr. Wonka.
Okay, I
He's
get what you're
walking
saying.
off
How
the
this
road.
Willy
is.
like,
Wonka is walking
His
down the
ankle is
slab.
hurt.
Yeah,
His ankle is hurt.
He's all
They're worried. They're
picture
so worried about
picture Stephen Hawking in his prime.
Oh, come on.
him. Oh.
We
Did
don't
you
know-
say too soon? Come on, no, it's not.
He hasn't even died yet. It's not too soon.
I don't know whether to
If you listen to this clip right after he died,
Wonka is really struggling down his red carpet here.
Rumbling, pumbling, stumbling.
So
He's about halfway.
Elwood's walk.
this could have been a
isn't
clip
that
out of
bad.
American History X.
Elwood's walk isn't as bad as Willy Wonka's here, but so Willy Wonka's taking off his hat and he's about to like salutations everyone, stick his cane in the ground, and then walk without it. And then this is at the point where Elwood flips the switch and becomes a Blues Brother, and just pops back up and like
That
no
was a
lip
perfect
whatsoever.
flip.
Yeah.
That flip was so
That was legit. That's how I knew exactly
Never
what you were
even knew how
talking
legit
about.
that
when you
was.
said
I
that.
completely thought I missed the ending of that movie and like hit a switch where he went into Asperger's mode.
Yeah.
I forgot at the beginning that happened. So
It's
I was like, was
actually
that how it ended? I don't remember him having Asperger's in the movie. I get it
When
now.
did he freak out? That's why I had to ask. Older
Willy-
you.
Well, Willy Wonka doesn't have Asperger's.
He's just
I
a
understand
murderer.
that now that I
You
see
can't
what you were
prove that.
referencing.
He's just a
I thought I
murderer.
didn't
That's
remember
all
the
you
ending.
really can prove.
A murderer?
Murderer?
Willy Wonka
He
is
kills
a
a bunch of
murderer.
little kids.
He killed a lot of those kids. They never
Oh
got out.
yeah, that's
He
a
blew
good.
one girl up. One got trash compacted.
No.
Yes,
No,
we don't
wait
talk
a
about
second.
film.
One got hit by the
conspiracy theories.
fan blades. I
Now wait a
think.
second.
Maybe I think they just burped away out of that one.
They did.
If they didn't come out alive, he would have been shut down by the authorities.
know.
Like, we haven't seen Veruca Salt in 20 years. What happened, Mr. Wonka?
He has Oompa Loompas. Like he does some fucked up
He
shit
still
in
has
that
slaves.
factory. Have you seen how big it is? You get
Yeah.
golden tickets. This is like Bruce Wayne as a bad guy, you know. But he just sells candy to make you feel good.
Exactly.
That's
and there's probably some chemical. There's probably a lot of fluoride in that candy.
Yeah.
Just
Everybody is
happy.
hypnotized.
Yeah.
It's like the 80s. I don't even know.
There-
They had
he probably has
TVs.
a government contract to make this. You know,
It was a really poor
influencing-
town.
Yeah.
It looked really poor, and that factory was fucking huge.
Dude, what if that was like low key a communist
Yeah.
movie?
Well, that's what
What if they were like
What's up?
using that to indoctrinate us? And they were like, if you don't let us into these businesses, we're
What
gonna
is the
kill you.
good
We're gonna kill your children.
now.
Is it
Grandpa
Grandpa
Joe
Joe?
used to work in the Wonka factory. Okay, Wonka shut down the factory. Then the town became poor.
They loved him, and then he found a
Right.
slave force.
It's like coal with chocolate. And
So-
then,
No, wait. You're getting the story all muxed up here because Wonka shut down for years.
yeah.
Not just like one day, opened up the next day. No, years. So
Years.
the whole town worked in the Wonka factory.
Right.
Okay.
And when he fired all those normal people, he made Oompa Loompas
See, now you're
and
being
reopened.
racist. The normal people.
Ooh, ooh.
What is an Oompa Loompa to you, Rico?
An orange person who knows how to sing crazy, trippy songs.
Could be an alien.
In the
Could
words
be
of
an
Dr.
alien.
Seuss, a person's a person, no matter how small, Rico.
Their skin is orange and all their hair is green.
That
They do sound
I
like
have
an alien to
seen
me.
some green
Like, they
hair,
only talk in
orange skin
songs.
tone people.
I don't.
Have you seen the Jersey Shore?
Yeah,
That's great.
accurate.
Are those not
You see
people?
the drugs they're taking at least. The Oompa Loompas just walk.
What do you
to
think
and
he's
fro.
drugging them with?
I don't know.
Chocolate. He drugs them with chocolate.
That's the
They're
whole
selling
point.
candy
That's
bars
the
up to fire
operation.
everybody.
So now, I'm open to this film conspiracy theory. Now I see. Have you guys ever seen A Scanner Darkly?
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm imagine Willy Wonka is just a Scanner Darkly, but with chocolate. So the drugs are in the chocolate, and they're distributing the drugs
so
out.
good. So.
He's a double agent.
So he's got the town hooked on his shit.
Got the
Yeah.
town
Hey, I'm
on
gonna
his
give you a
shit.
golden ticket. Like me.
Yep.
You gotta buy the chocolate.
And then
to get
now
the
I've
golden
got
ticket.
that rich family. He's got their daughter kidnapped.
Yeah.
Look
Fucking.
at this. Boom.
Holding her hostage.
Just building that
Hey,
empire.
this
You
is a
got-
secret commie movie.
It's
You
yeah.
got-
Look into the
Hey,
money for
it's-
that shit.
It's propaganda, man.
You see?
101.
And he thought this was a
Why do you
good
think you
guy.
watched this so many times in school?
Yep,
Wait, when
exactly.
did Willy Wonka come out?
That movie, they wasn't there for like
What
the
year did
teacher's
it come
hangover.
out? And also, what major historical event was happening when the movie came out?
Acid.
Otherwise, your conspiracy theory makes no sense.
Was it World War II
and
time?
there's nothing going on.
Y2K.
June 30th, 1971.
So what was
Uh-oh,
happening
acid.
June
A
30th,
day-
1970?
a day
A lot
that
of
will live
acid
in
was
infamy.
happening.
71 was the day that will live in infamy?
Yeah.
I think that was more like Nam Korea era, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of. I'm sorry to degrade the other days that also live on in infamy.
There are a lot.
All of the Korean vets listening to this.
Hey, Pearl Harbor was a day that will live in infamy too.
I don't think that was 71 though.
Yeah.
No, but that was still said on that day.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not the one overusing the term here. That's my argument.
What did you find here?
On this day, dun dun dun.
On this day, what happened on June 30th?
We're gonna read about
1971?
A bunch of the space mission. Boom, found dead. There it is.
Oh, there's your
Key
comedy
distraction. Key
Crush.
distraction.
Crew of Russian space mission Soyuz 11 found dead upon arrival on Earth. Only people to die in space.
Yeah.
Ohio became
Ooh.
the 38th state to approve of lowering
That's
the
gonna
voting
be
age
tough.
to 18.
Dying in space.
But what does that
Word
have
up,
to do with Willy
Ohio.
Wonka?
Yeah, they were distracting. It's got nothing.
Yeah,
This
was
one-
there like a war or something? at
No,
that
as
time?
far as the film conspiracy of Wonka maybe being a murderer, I'm all about
That
that.
could be
But the
based on
idea of it
something
being
in the
prop.
past. It doesn't have to happen on that day exactly.
Yeah, it could really. So Willy Wonka could be this.
Indo-Pakistani War of 1971. They were covering your eyes to it.
Boom. There it is.
Bam!
Yep.
Hundreds of
Distraction.
deaths.
But let's also say, are you guys familiar with the H.H. Holmes story?
The what?
You guys ever heard of H.H. Holmes?
That was
Serial
near the
killer?
cannibal?
He was the guy who, in the world's first World Fair in Chicago, built this mansion that he rented out as a hotel, and he had it rigged as different murder rooms.
What?
He was the murder mystery guy. H.H. Holmes. He was a doctor who used to basically kill people and then sell their bones to doctors' places so they could use the cadavers and stuff like that. He ended up getting caught. Maybe Willy Wonka's just it's a little twist on the old H.H. Holmes horror story, but with kids and chocolate instead of
That's
No,
fucking wild.
Nom.
No.
Yeah, little.
I feel like it's a little easier to sell that than
Yeah.
they were like, look at
Let's
what
agree
happened.
to disagree on your H.H. Holmes theory.
I'm
You're
sorry, I
taking,
just
like,
can't
two
jump on that train.
extremes. Death by chocolate or death by cereal.
It wasn't just
Yeah,
death by
but
chocolate. It was
take you
death
to
by
a crazy place.
It was death by trap, well thought out traps,
Yeah.
like blueberry chewing gum, and
The goose laying eggs.
Yeah, dude, they were killed by a bunch of different things. Like
Yeah.
H.H. Holmes would lock your
Falling
door
in the
and put
river.
gas in your room, or he would dump your body in an acid crate. Well, it wouldn't be a crate; it would be a drum.
Or turn your bed into a guillotine.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't back that.
Have you
up,
seen this
but
shit?
No.
Oh,
Rico,
I just
you
made
have
that up.
some fucked up ideas.
This I like it.
Rico's low key a
Look,
serial killer.
we
The
need to get
idea in my
Rico-
head is even darker than that, but I let you think just sleeping people getting their heads chopped off.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
you're in a nice swanky ass hotel, I'm not sleeping.
Right?
Rico, do you ever answer the phone? You want to play a game?
No, he's the one calling.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just pick up and don't say anything.
He is the
You
one
breathe
who
on that
knocks.
into the microphone.
Tell that sales girl to
Help
call
me.
just a
I
little
need
longer.
help. They're coming after me. Come pick me up right now.
My dad would do that shit every time a telemarketer would call during dinner.
He would say what to
He
him?
would say like, "Fucking help, please help." But
Yeah, they got
the
the gun. Oh my god.
Oh, there's this
James.
guy that used to record his prank videos doing that. And there was one, it was a telemarketer calling, and he pretended to be the detective that was at the murder scene of this. Like, so the person, he was pretending to be the detective at his own murder scene. So this telemarketer calls in, and he won't let him off the phone. He's like, "Well, you're a witness. You know, how well did you know the victim and all this and that?" And it was, I'm going to have to find that so I can share the link, because it was. I love when people mess with telemarketers on the phone. Like,
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah, we should become one of those people.
I've heard that.
you know what I'm talking
I
about?
know which one
You
you're
know what
talking
I'm talking
about.
about? Yeah, I'm not
I
just
had a
making that
fucking-
up.
I always call them back a bunch because it's really generally not that many people in one of those call centers. Normally it's like
Yeah.
5 or 6, maybe 10 people.
Well, and if
So
they
I
call
was-
you, they auto connect to their desk.
Yeah. I called them a bunch to flood them, and I was doing that for years, like fucking years and years. I would just call them back, and you'll get the same rep a few times. And then I'd like fuck with them for a few minutes, hang up, call back, fuck with them. What they started doing is if you call back, you have to like press a bunch of numbers, and then once you get to them, like you have to agree to a bunch of shit, and then once you get to them, they'll like hang up on you instantly if you call back in. Or if you call back too many times, it'll ring in, and like they can put you on a list to where it just plays a loud fucking tone in your ear. So if you stay on the line, because you're holding up a line on them and they don't like that, so they play just a fucking loud ass tone so you can't hold up the line. They like started fighting back against that shit. There must have been a bunch of other people out there. No, I always thought I was like the only asshole that would fuck with them that hard. But I'm driving all the time and it's unlimited minutes, so I was just like, fuck them. But yeah, there must have been a lot of other people out there that had just as much fucking free time to just keep fucking with them back because they started.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it's been within the last year that they started doing that.
I'm gonna piss off all your other customers.
Yeah, maybe I'm just there's got to be at
It's
least.
kind of a smart plan to get people to leave. If I have a long wait time, fuck you, I'm leaving.
Yeah, well, you just put it on speaker and then start playing your shit again, and when they pick up, you're just like, and then hang up on them, and it pisses them off.
Yeah,
That's a good play. I like that.
I'm not that aggressive. I always just say I'm not interested, and then I hang up.
Yeah, that's usually what I do too. But RJ,
I'm on every do not call list that exists.
That's not
And I
true
get
because
calls-
I was on the national do not call list for like cell phones, and they all started calling me after I did that.
And that's why I
so-
started fighting back. Because they didn't even give me the. And if you press the button for them not to call you back, they still call you back. Because I get calls from the same exact number.
Mhm.
Fuck, you don't give me any option.
They should call it the please call me list, not the do not call list, because it seems like they just like.
And I never agree to anything where like I give companies permission to call me ever.
Right. Well, there's always some little text in the terms and service agreement on your friendly local mobile app that says, we're going to sell your information,
Yeah,
That's
whether you want
probably
us to
true.
or not.
an extremely technical jargon.
Exactly.
It's like your short story, Ken.
What short story is that?
That's to be announced. It's
Oh,
in the
okay. It's
works.
still in the works. Right on.
Or
We
just
have a
already
bunch of
read
short
it.
stories on
Wait,
the website.
Fill me in on that last second. What you just said, because I was sharing.
The-
I was sharing our live episode is what I was doing.
I'm sorry to put
So
you
which
in,
which
but-
short
The
story?
mobile app contract.
Oh no, that one's out. Yeah,
Oh, it's
that's
out?
coming to terms. That's on our
Coming to
blog
terms.
right now.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yep.
There you go. Shameless plug.
What is
Coming
our
to
blog
terms.
again? I still haven't even fucking gone to our blog. I feel
It's-
so fucking
It's
awful.
baddinnerguests.blogger.com.
There you go. baddinnerguest.blogger.com
That's
for
where-
the short story called what?
Coming to Terms. That's one of them I have up there. I have another one up there that is a little darker. I actually am thinking about opening it. I'll ask you guys about this real quick. I wrote a story that I kind of feel now is a little too depressing, and I want to think about changing the ending. So I was thinking about writing it with a new ending and then posting them both and kind of like taking a vote on it.
I was hoping
That's
that's where you
the
were
best way to do
going,
it.
but
Yeah.
why take a vote on it? Like,
Just to kind of see. I mean, ultimately, I would, maybe even still make the final decision, but just as a way to sort of get some feedback, because the original feedback I got wasn't that it was bad, but that it was like really depressing. Like, hey man, it's Friday night. Why'd you ask me to read that? It's like it's real sad. And I thought I could find a way to put it out there where it could still be entertaining, but not have such a downer of an ending. But maybe it should be. I don't know. So that's why I kind of want to, you know what I mean? I kind of want to just put it out there and see what the people that actually look into our stuff have to say about that.
I mean, what's the moral of the story? Pretty much. Is it
Well,
just
read the
like-
fucking story.
Well, okay, so I'll put it.
not-
No. I'll put just
I'm
like
gonna gauge from-
I'll put a little bit of perspective on it. So essentially, what happens is a guy wakes up after a one-night stand and he finds the girl he's in bed with is dead. Next
Been
to him.
there.
Yeah, she's dead.
Who the hell are you, Ben Affleck?
Yes, this is a side project I'm working on.
So it's just sort of trying to put you in that scenario of what you would do, waking up having no idea why she died, and what your first instincts would be, and how you would go about the process.
Wait, I'm actually curious on what Rico would do.
Yeah.
So, Rico,
Yeah.
you got blackout drunk last night. You woke up to
Okay.
find a strange woman sleeping in your bed, but she's not sleeping. Plot twist, she's dead. What do you do?
Okay, I would like to claim that I would get roofied, not drunk. I don't drink.
Oh yeah.
And-
No.
So you ate the roofie.
Somehow, somewhere, I ate that marshmallow. It
Okay.
tasted damn good.
Okay. All right.
And I wake
That's what
up.
they're calling it these days.
Okay, so I wake up. There's a dead bitch beside me. First thing I'm gonna do is think about my
Degrader,
girlfriend.
apparently.
No, once they're
The
dead,
first
it's
thing he does
okay.
is degrade her.
It's
Well,
an
if she's-
inanimate object,
If
right?
she's dead, then Okay,
I
there's
pick up on my
a
sarcasm.
there's
I
a
don't
nice
know.
dead lady beside me. A
There you go.
lovely gal. I'm sure she had a great life. Okay, first thing I'm
Right
doing,
up there till the end.
I'm going to check my body to see how bloody I am, and check to see if we actually had sex. Look for a condom. If there is,
You don't remember fucking her, but you were still in the
I'm
same
blackout
mindset
drunk.
that you're going
Who
to
said
put
I'm
a condom
blackout
on.
drunk? I just woke up. to the
Or roofied.
situation.
Oh, roofied.
Roofied, whatever. I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay.
So you wouldn't think that, oh shit, I'm being framed, or
No.
where's my gun,
his
or
first
I don't
He
have
did
a
it.
gun.
So bare hands. But go on. What would? Okay.
I'm gonna just generally survey the situation. Really try not to touch anything. If I do have to touch something, I might leave and come back with some gloves, so I can make sure that I don't have any part of this. Might vacuum and clean up a little bit, make sure I'm definitely not there, and straighten up an alibi with one of my friends where I was or wasn't at.
so you would
I'll call the
lie.
cops.
Exactly. See, and that's why I wrote this story, because I think a lot of
Eventually
people
I'll
will
call
read
the
it and
cops.
be like, dude, this character's a piece of shit. Why didn't they call the cops to see what happened? And my thought is bullshit. No. Before you do
I have
say
time to
anything,
think about it right
you
now.
would check it out. You would check out the scene and make sure there's nobody else fucking there. You would make sure that you
Yeah.
were cool before you called the cops. I bet 9 out of 10 people would do that.
Oh, like
Wouldn't
check
they?
around the house for somebody?
Yeah, to make sure that nobody else is
Yeah.
Yeah,
there.
because they could have just woke you up and
Because
put the body down.
We don't know this chick, right?
None of us
Random.
assume we did it.
Yeah, the assumption is that you didn't do it.
Yeah, that's
But
what I
you-
that's
but
what I
you still-
naturally assume.
but yeah,
Oh, I
okay.
knew. If it's like my girlfriend, I'm like, oh fuck.
Okay,
What
that's
the
good.
fuck? Now I
That's
definitely
why
have to
it's a
call the
random.
cops. I don't know what the hell happened.
Right.
But if it's a rando, I'm gonna freak out. I'm probably gonna call somebody first, and then might call the
Don't
cops.
do that. They're going to get you from what cell phone tower
Yeah,
you called
see,
from.
Yeah.
like,
see?
but I'm in panic mode. I'm not thinking about shit. I'm just like, oh god, what do I do? What do I do?
I
He's
know,
selling this
perfect-
for you now.
Perfect prosecution.
Your own book?
This is a story, yeah.
Perfect case for the prosecution. Rico's gonna be on stand and he's like, so you decided to call your friend RJ before you called the police and spoke to him for 20 minutes. Then you apparently had time to vacuum the room, dust the dust, and do the dishes before you called the cops. What do you have to say for yourself, Rico?
I vacuumed last night, bitch. Get out my face, hoe.
Yep, that will work.
Straight to degradation again.
Done. I like it.
Just put that bitch down.
I don't know.
But yeah,
I got snapped. Like, I got in jail for this. Like, I got a whole life, man.
But you wouldn't try to help them out.
That's the thing. It's like that's the whole question there. It's like, well, yeah, you're still a good person, but at the same time,
Yeah, what can I do for 12? I can't do shit for them.
Yeah,
I have to figure that out.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
just the whole concept of well, at the end of the day, we're gonna take care of ourselves, however we have to in that situation.
I got work.
So the point is you're writing a different ending to the story.
Because my ending I thought was depressing. And the guy is not. And well, I don't want to ruin the.
Yeah, don't ruin it.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the whole
The
thing.
point
but
is,
the point is,
you're writing a different ending, and you want to get a vote on it.
yeah,
Okay.
potentially, yeah. That was an idea that I had, or I thought
So
about
could we
just changing
get a
it.
sneak peek of these endings? Just like a little taster.
It's like looking at the last page of the book
Well,
before you buy it, Rico.
I don't know.
Can you say
that.
what direction,
Yeah.
without saying what the ending of this one is, can you say if it takes a darker
Well,
turn or a lighter turn?
okay.
or-
So it takes a lighter turn, and it doesn't give away the ending, so to speak, as it is just a major detail. I wanted to change how the dead body went from how the woman was killed, basically.
Okay.
Because in my initial story, I have it go one way that is quite depressing, and I was thinking instead of going the depressing route, maybe I'd go like the horror route and have it be something where, like, say our main character gets a cell phone starts ringing and he notices it's her phone, but it's his number that's calling, or something like that. You know what I mean? Instead of where I went with it, you got a definitive answer, but it was sort of a depressing answer, and then there's a last little like twist of reality finally setting in at the end, where it's like it doesn't really matter what really happened. What's perceived happened is what's going to matter, so to speak. So I'm thinking about keeping my ending the same, but keeping sort of the that major thing, maybe twisting that up, like I said, to go to maybe be a little more entertaining and a little less heavy hitting with it. Because the plan was to have you hit emotionally with the fact that, like, oh, this dude is innocent, but that's not going to matter, sort of thing. But instead of having it hit really heavy on that, I want to be like, maybe throw the idea of, oh man, there's a killer on the loose, and this guy's going to get blamed for it. You know what I mean? I'm not sure which one is the more effective way to end that. Like, which one would hit someone hardest, where it's like they're really going to feel bad.
I would have kept my mouth shut and just retitled it.
Yeah. Are you?
But it's so the same though. Like it would have been hard.
Are you trying to like make this just one short story, or like turn it into like a mini series kind of thing?
Well, that's the thing. I've
seen that miniseries. It's called CSI.
Go right. Well, but if I go the way with it of he gets a phone call from another source or from himself, then it could be about, if he does manage to escape, it could be about who the real killer is.
Yeah.
The way that I ended it, I leave it open-ended enough to where it's really, if in order for it to be its own complete story, you, the reader, will have to decide which way you think that it ends. I do that a lot with my short stories. I leave you right in the middle of the ending moment. Yeah, that last moment there, I leave you like right in the middle of it, so you know where that last conflict comes from and who's standing there, but I don't necessarily spill the whole thing out for you. I like to leave it sort of with some hints, but to where if you want to really, really be naive or go one way with it, you can. I leave it open enough for you to do that.
So like a cliffhanger that doesn't have to be a cliffhanger.
See,
I was just gonna say, for those of us just joining in, Kevin's really good at messing with your emotions and pissing you off, just like in Game of Thrones.
Is this a personal story?
No.
No, that is the feedback I get most often from my work is like, man, it was really good, but I just don't like why you were so intent on telling a story that didn't have a happy ending. And I'm like, well, maybe that was the moral of my story, was that it's not always a happy ending, but you're going to have to pull your ass up and keep moving forward. So, like, maybe that was the point.
Son.
Huh?
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, exactly. So, because I do get that sometimes where it's like, people that I get feedback from are like, man, you're fucking with me a little bit. I was having a good day. But my thing is, if I made you feel something strongly enough, then I didn't do a bad job, right? I mean, you might not have wanted to feel that, but
Gotcha.
you felt it. You didn't.
I don't want to cry every time at the end of The Notebook, but it just happens.
Well, it's like Requiem for a Dream. I love that movie, but I watched it once on a Friday night and literally stayed in my house the next 2 days. It's a really depressing
What movie was that?
Requiem for a Dream.
It was that sad?
Robin Williams?
No, that's Jared Leto, and it's got like that old lady that gets addicted to like the diet pills or whatever. Jared Leto, his girlfriend gets addicted to I can't remember what drug it is, but she ends up like getting her arm amputated. She ends up like fucking for other, drug dealers for money and for drugs, and it's just really, really sad. Just goes all throughout it.
Completely different than
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But if you haven't seen that movie at this point, you probably don't want to, because it's really, you heard how sad it was.
Dude,
Yeah.
I need to, because like I need something. My last memory of almost crying at like a show or anything was Glenn Beck's live thing. I need a new memory for that. I need a movie that can take me there, that I can reference, that isn't Glenn Beck.
I was a freshman in college, and we watched it as a foursome in our dorm room, and I legitimately didn't leave my dorm except to eat and shower and piss and stuff for Saturday or Sunday. Not until I went to class. I was so depressed.
Have you seen $1 Million Baby?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, in a scale, how much more depressing is it than that movie? Because it sounds way more depressing than that.
To me, it's more depressing because to me, it's more relatable. I know people and have met people that have ruined their lives over drugs. I've never met a boxer that tripped and snapped their neck,
Yeah.
But at the same time, while it's sad, this other one kind of shows you it's a progression, and it shows you the different way. And for me, it's really the old lady when she starts to hallucinate and all that good stuff. It's I think it's more sad than that. I haven't had movies. It's rare with how many movies that I watch that I have one affect me like that.
That's why the only one I have to reference is like $1 Million Baby or Time Traveler's Wife.
Or like, what's that one? I think, what is it? Keanu Reeves plays a baseball coach and a little league coach, and one of the kids gets shot.
Hardball.
Yeah. Like, okay, like it's up there with that one. Okay,
that one
where it's like that one where you admit like that's a great movie, but you're still like, man, I kind of wish I hadn't watched it. Yeah. You'll never watch it again. You're like, oh yeah, I can't wait for that. I just want to get really sad about stuff. I don't. Maybe
not
people
17
do that
anymore.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not that angsty where I like to just bathe in my sadness.
Yeah. Man, I miss those times. It's so easy to get sad.
Yeah, just pick the right music.
I'm trying to find like a movie that's like that sad to me.
Train Spotting?
Never seen it.
That's pretty interesting. Oh,
The Green Mile. I can't make it through The Green Mile.
There you
I
go.
cannot make it through that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie completely through. I've just seen enough bits of it to like walk out of like be like, no, I can't fucking watch this shit.
It's so good. That's in my top 3.
I know how it ends. I don't want to and I've seen the ending of it and I didn't have reference for it. I've watched it backward basically.
Which, by the way, has got to be one of the better Stephen King films that I've ever seen.
It's one of the best adaptions, but also it's one of the more honest adaptions.
I
Like,
have
for instance,
never seen this movie.
The Green Mile.
The Green Mile.
They electrocute an old black man. It's like he can bring shit back
Who
to
can
life.
heal people? He like heals
he was
Tom
in prison
Hanks
already?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I think.
Don't give away the beginning. We've already given away the ending.
I feel like I
have
might
to
have
have
seen
a reason to watch
as a
it.
kid.
And the ending is definitely out there.
It's like it's real foggy.
It's really good. It also. So
It's
my
just in a
favorite
fuck that
Stephen King
situation,
adaptation
right?
is The Mist.
I think I haven't. I didn't watch.
hate
I've seen
that.
the ending to know I don't want to watch it.
I forget.
The Green Mile is a good one.
The
You should
Green-
watch it.
Yeah.
If you have 2.5 to 3 hours to spend, you can watch The Green Mile.
Dude, some gummy bears with Green Mile.
Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
Back in the, do you remember VHS tapes?
Remember, I've got a
Yeah.
VCR upstairs.
So that was
How much
one of
money
the
do you
movies
think
that
we have?
came in the 2 VHS pack because it's so long. It needed 2 VHS tapes.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
like
That and
Titanic.
Titanic and Braveheart.
Wasn't
The ones I
Titanic
can
3?
remember. No, it was 2 tapes.
Okay.
It was 2 tapes. It was 2 very full tapes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I love my VCR. That's how that's my clenching. That's my finisher move.
Do you know how to like fix
Like,
it and
hey,
shit at this
I got
point yet?
I got some VHS tapes.
Are you enjoying nostalgia?
Yeah.
Have you ever met a man that's a little bit into RF?
You want to watch the Robert Redford Great Gatsby? Who? Fuck. Never mind.
Hey, babe, if you enjoyed what you had tonight, how about some Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah. Yep, some of that. You want to watch the Twilight Zone for 3 hours? Yeah, I'm full.
Dude,
of
the
them,
Twilight Zone's on Netflix.
Yeah, I know.
You don't need that anymore.
You know what else is on the Netflix? The Netflix. You know what else is on
The
there?
Netflix.
I got you to say it. Fuck yeah.
Bob Ross.
I saw that. Have you watched any of it?
Yeah, all 12 episodes.
Why is there only 12 episodes? There has years of that man's life on there. There's no way it only accumulates 12 hours.
It's not as long as I thought it would be.
That's what she said.
Every goddamn time.
It's not as many episodes as I thought for Bob Ross. I thought there would be like 20 years of episodes, and there's only like 5.
No, they love to do that to you. Netflix loves to give you a show that you really like and give you just the first season of it. And they're like,
I can't say that I actually like Bob Ross's painting show, but there is something about just putting it on.
I couldn't imagine it plus beer.
Putting it on and just going to sleep, listening to that deep vibrato.
I had no idea what you were talking about until you mentioned painting, and then it all came back. Like, I used to come home and eat cereal to that show.
yeah.
Bob Ross, Happy Little Shoes.
Yeah. That show was awesome.
What should have been the name of the show, but it wasn't. It was, what is it called? The Joy of Painting?
For the 11-year-olds tuning into our show because they also watch Twitch, can you show them an image of Bob Ross?
Bob
or
Ross,
something?
I feel like if I have to show
Because if Rico
you who
didn't know,
Bob
there's
Ross
got to be
is,
some people out there that don't
Okay.
know who Bob Ross is.
that's fair. I was just gonna say, like, if you don't know who Bob
You're such
Ross
an
is, you're
asshole.
I
probably
mean,
not
no,
watching
it's like
us.
it's an audio cast, Rico. People need to know what the fuck we're talking
Well,
about.
I guess you called me 11.
Oh no, I was just saying like the younger
Okay,
generation definitely
That's
doesn't
from
know.
the first shot fired.
I'm sorry, man.
Shot
I'm
fired.
also
right now.
Pew, pew.
Yeah, but how old are you, Rico?
I'm 23.
No,
You're 23?
Yeah.
start
Oh,
lying
yeah.
now so people. This is where people can
Are you
draw back
really?
to. You're gonna want to lie about this someday, and your bitch is gonna get on
I
here
do
and be
all
like,
the time, and they're completely
back in
like,
2016.
Oh, yeah, I totally believe you.
Rico, where are you hiding the fountain of youth? Please.
And these nuts, bro.
Is there like a video of him on YouTube painting some happy trees?
I mean, I could pull up a video
Please,
of
I
him,
need to
yeah.
hear him say happy
I
trees.
want a watery landscape for my painting.
You want
But-
to?
Can we get
But
that
if you
one?
get some black and not water, don't worry, we'll turn it to a rhyme. Get your number 12 paintbrush. We're going to take that blue-gray whitewash that we created and just add a little bit there.
Swish it over.
There's
You ever
gotta-
had
Did you ever get inspired to do some art because of Bob Ross, or did you
I
just
wanted
watch
to. I got my ass beat.
I got
by him.
inspired.
You got your ass beat because of him?
Yeah, I painted on the walls.
Oh, what? How? I would hope 11 or younger, probably younger.
Yeah, I was a kid.
Did you
didn't
paint
give a
happy
fuck.
trees at least?
Yeah, I was just son. Hi, Mom. This is me, and that's you.
She was like, and this is me beating your ass.
I'm so sorry.
There you go.
I fucking hate this seating configuration.
There we go.
It's wonderful.
little something, something. Is that where that came from?
Maybe. But see, yeah, exactly. I can see how this would put you
This little
right
fella
out.
over here.
And see, this is what I know who Bob Ross is, but when people talk about watching the show, I'm like, yeah, no, never did, not once. Maybe I saw it on the channels as I flipped through, but
You must have had the
My-
good cable growing up.
my ADD game was way too strong for this, man.
I just wanted to hear him say
no way.
happy trees. That's all I wanted to hear.
Well, we'll find a clip for it. We'll work it into the intro for you someday
Oh.
soon. The happy trees, because I don't know. I don't think the listeners have the patience or the time for me to find it. They have like whole episodes. Of
You're a producer. Get the shit down,
Well,
Kevin.
tell me about shit beforehand.
I didn't. How did we even end up on Bob Ross's?
Well,
That's the beauty of the show.
We were talking about Blues Brothers. And then
Oh wow!
we kind of just transgressed.
Took a 40-minute train to Bob Ross.
But that's the wonderful
Yeah.
thing about it. I mean,
I love it.
we've talked about movie conspiracies. You mentioned you had a top three movies, buddy, which I kind of wanted to come back to because
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
that's
you
a-
know them.
I want to hear them,
guess.
though.
No, guess and see how many you're wrong about.
Oh, I'm going to be wrong because he thinks I know them and I don't think that I do. I think it's really hard to pick a top three. Well, you said The Green Mile, so I get one free.
Friendship
that's
test right here.
That's your free space.
The real friendship
I'm going to be
test.
wrong here.
You don't remember those
Probably.
late nights at Gooey's?
Talking about...
Listen, you don't talk about the late nights at Gooey's.
This isn't Fight Club. Is Fight Club one of them?
I'm going to guess... Man, I hate guessing.
All right, I'll
especially
tell
when
you.
I know that I'm wrong.
I'll tell you because we don't have time.
Okay, good.
It's
Plenty
number
of
one
time.
has got to be Forrest Gump.
Hell yeah. I was
my
going to
number
say
one.
that. Oh, no, I wasn't. I was going to say Shawshank.
Shawshank is
I'm sorry.
definitely in the top 10.
Ooh.
But Forrest Gump, Green Mile, and Braveheart. I can watch all those movies on repeat, and they all are ridiculously long. And
Yeah.
They're so good.
That is tough.
Why
It's-
aren't more movies longer? Like, why isn't there more 3-hour like fucking?
You ever heard of
events?
a budget, RJ?
But they do
Blow
better,
it
don't
all
they?
and explode
Like, if
on
all the
some
top
cities.
movies you quoted are the longest ones, that has to mean something.
Story, budget.
It,
I think it's production.
you also have to keep the audience in mind because
That's
on
story.
We
top
do
of
still
it,
have
yeah,
3-hour movies still.
because we do.
Yeah,
we
but
still
there's
have
stuff-
them.
They're
There's not a
just
lot
not
anymore
as
now.
good.
It's all about the
Typically.
story.
Is it?
It's,
If you can tell a story in an hour and a half, and you try to drag it out to 2.5 hours, you're gonna lose the audience halfway through. Because have you gone to a movie where you're like that
Movie was
lasted
too
way
long.
too long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman is the case in point.
That
there.
movie should have been 20 minutes.
That
It was
people-
awful.
People that
did you say Martha?
yeah, it was pretty dumb. It did have some good things about it, but so even more so than just the story, though, what I think sadly is it's become more of a numbers game.
Yeah.
It's become such a cash cow that people know that if they can get Kevin Hart and
Yeah.
somebody else that's a little
Ice
cheaper than
Cube.
Kevin Hart, then they can
Oh.
slap together.
Every other actor.
They can slap together some shitty concept that basically fits, an outline that they've put together, and then they can hire 4 or 5 different writers to come in and punch that up. So that way, 4 or 5 different people are splitting 5% of the budget. So it's all just about how much further you can make that dollar go. So like Bruce said, unless the story almost requires that you need that 3 hours, nobody's going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not nearly the art form that it used to be.
And the fact that some of these adaptations and the people involved in the writing of the film are also executive producers or producers, so they probably put up a good portion of their own money
Oh, really?
to finance the film. So Stephen King probably saw a script for Green Mile and said, no, we need all of this in here. Here's an extra $100,000, make it work. Something like that.
Well, it actually, unfortunately, in a lot of cases, it works out the opposite way. The point I'll use is Stephen King is The Shining, where he had a script. It all depends on who's putting the money behind it. Because, if it's going independently and Stephen King retains those rights, but if he sells the script and then the studio has the script,
They
then
can pretty much.
they can do what Stanley Kubrick did with The Shining and make it not at all about the book and make it about what he wanted it to be about. And that's basically what he did, and that's why Stephen King hates The Shining. That's why he's trying to get another movie made. That's why he had a television miniseries made, was because he was trying to say, hey, this was not the creative vision. It's not the direction that this isn't the story that I told. And if you're going to make a movie off of my name and off of my story, I want it to be like this. Stanley Kubrick was the man at that time. And so as he did with Clockwork Orange and certain other stories, he said, fuck you and your source material, dude. We're going to make a Stanley Kubrick movie about how I want to make it. And then that's how that goes. So it really... As a writer, any writers out there that have a dream of seeing their movie made in Hollywood, you should really, really
Look at
read
Netflix.
the
Though.
fine print on those situations.
The great thing about Netflix though is if you can find the budget, which the money to produce this shit, if I understand correctly, has gone down exponentially. You don't really need a Hollywood budget anymore to produce a pretty good product.
Well, most of your budget will then go into special effects and visual effects because
there's so many people that can do that. Maybe that's why comedy specials have bloomed on Netflix. Is because it's not that many like After Effects going into it. It's just cuts.
Because there are people that know how to do it, and it's not so much about the people. It's about if you want After Effects on your computer for a year, it's like $700. You either pay a monthly.
Does it take a full year to make a movie?
No, but what I'm saying is you can a lot of these situations now you can pay monthly for access to a software, or you buy the software, but the software is $700 to $800.
I guarantee you they're doing that to combat piracy.
And you will, But so in that essence, it's cheaper to do certain things with digital now. You can just delete a clip and move on, storage wise. But yeah, where your expenses now are in the cast and the setting, depending on what you want to do, and then just all your CGI stuff.
So as a producer of a movie, would you be more inclined to like give your cast a take of if it makes money?
No,
like what Hollywood does.
Before the movie is released?
If you didn't, do you have to do that legally though?
No, you can do. So, for instance, Dallas Buyers Club, McConaughey didn't get paid to do that movie. He took a percentage of sales.
Right.
But that is up to them. And what's going to happen is you have to really believe in a project, and that's why you're seeing
great scripts will come out then.
Well, no, that's why you're seeing all these Sundance winners make it now. Is because you see guys like Jared Leto and McConaughey. You see these bigger names realizing that they can do just as well for themselves by not taking any of this money up front. They have the money right now. They can put themselves behind passion projects
Let
they
the
really
free
like.
market win. It's
And
beautiful.
Then, it is a really cool thing that's going on there. You're still getting all the droll that gets just spit out by the studios, and the way the studios have combat this artistic movement really essentially has been with the superhero film.
Okay.
The way if you think about it, look. What other big like studio things that are going out that anybody's really talking about?
Suicide Squad.
So again, but that's a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Deadpool, it's an anti-hero.
I love war movies. Is there like I haven't seen a good fucking war film coming out. Is there?
Really
it's about goddamn time.
It's about goddamn time. Yeah, to gear us up for our next war. Yeah.
Is that what?
It's about time for those movies to start coming out.
I don't know why. I just fucking feed on those movies. I love them so god. What's coming out?
That's good. I don't know what's coming out, but that
Kevin, I get you hate it, but what is coming out?
I heard about one that came out that was about it was during the Civil War era, and this guy was part of a militia and started the whole freedom of slaves movement.
Okay.
And the movie's called like
something the Joneses. It's McConaughey.
Did they Is that the movie that they remade that used to be a KKK racist flick, and a black guy bought the title, or he just he made a movie and he titled it. It was a fucking KKK propaganda film. It might have been Civil War related. Maybe you can Google that shit, Kevin, or I can. Yeah. But yeah, like my understanding of it is that like it used to be a KKK propaganda film. Like they produced it, they paid the entire budget for it to be made and all that shit way back in the day when it was stupid expensive, and then they put it out. But now a black guy is producing it, and it's like a complete fucking remake, but it's the opposite message, essentially.
It's called Free Land of Jones or something.
Free State of Jones,
Is that the KKK movie that I'm thinking of?
That's what I'm thinking of.
I'm gonna fucking Google.
Yeah, I just looked up war movies for 2016.
His name is Newt Knight, which I love it. It's still not spelled the way my dog's is. But there's War Dogs, there's 13 Hours, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Ooh, Jarhead 3.
Birth of a Nation is the movie I was thinking of. Yeah, it's coming out in 2016.
What?
So you know what Birth of a Nation originally?
Yeah, I know exactly.
Okay, so that's the movie I was talking about. So I'm just gonna I Wikipedia'd it, and it's an American period drama about Nat Turner, the slave who led a slave rebellion in Southampton County, Virginia. So instead of being like knocking down the black man, this is about a fucking slave that like had his comeuppance and like started the revolution somewhere.
So they bought the movies,
and that's a Sundance film. So a fucking great movie coming out, probably just about what we were talking about. That's phenomenal.
That is interesting to me.
Fox bought the movie from them, from whoever.
And I'm interested to see this Free State of Jones thing because it sounds like these guys were Southerners in this movie that fought with slaves. And I think it's good to tell that side of the Civil War because a lot of people, when they think the Civil War. They just think it was a bunch of white people that wanted slaves versus a bunch of white people that didn't want slaves. And that is not at all what the Civil War was about. It was a lot more about finances and taxes and the dollar. And so while slavery was a big part of it, it wasn't the only driving force. And there were units in the South that wanted free slaves, but they just didn't want to be part of what they felt was an oppressive government. So I think it'll be cool to see a different Civil War movie than your standard Civil War movie, where it actually shows some Southern good guys, because it's hard to imagine that everybody on that side was a racist bigot. I'd like to think that it wasn't. I mean, we're getting this story 200
Glory?
years. Uh-huh.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh, have you seen the movie Glory?
No.
It's about the first Civil War, like all black unit. It was led by a white lieutenant.
I did watch that.
Okay, it's on Netflix right now, but it shows the amount of racism on the northern side as well.
Yeah.
That was a movie about states like rights versus fucking. In that movie, that's at least how it's portrayed.
Yeah, and that's a lot about what it was.
Yeah.
The South just basically thought the government had overreached its intended power. And
by removing slavery. Don't get it like
but yeah, exactly.
It was still states'
But
rights.
the way it was taught to you in social studies was the evil South wanted to keep slaves, and the free fighting North people wanted to get rid of slaves, and that's it, and that's that.
Yeah.
And it was not that way whatsoever. They didn't talk about the fact that the people who assassinated Lincoln did so also in part because he was, one of the things they had against him was him creating his own currency and going off the dollar.
They didn't have a choice because of the war.
But again, we know these things now.
Yeah.
But again, it was never. What I'm saying is, it was never put on the table that way. It was always like, here's some big morality issue.
Was that the introduction of the first central bank though? I would be curious. I don't know about
the
that.
first ever central bank. I don't know about. I'd have to look up the United States. But the first central bank ever came forth in 1694.
Okay. I don't know if it was. I was talking to you about this, but Hillary Clinton made a statement, referencing Abraham Lincoln versus another president.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was making a comparison between Barack Obama and Abraham Lincoln.
Classic.
And I don't know if that was a comparison. I forget what exactly she said, but the only thought that I thought of when she said that was, that is such a huge gap. The way things were back when Abraham Lincoln was president is completely different than the way things were with this president that you just named.
It's the same struggles, though.
There's 100-year difference.
It's the same struggles, though. Tariffs,
at the
taxes.
base,
at the end of the day, I mean, the only new shit we have is the way we communicate and get to each other. But it's the same issues. People want to act like we're in this new era and the Constitution doesn't mean shit. Not that much has changed about the fight for either you're about personal rights or you want states' rights and then federal rights in the sense. It really hasn't changed that much. It's just we talk faster than we ever did and we get to each other faster than we ever did. And the freedom to do so is really the last struggle we have.
Find that quote, but whoever I was talking to, this might have been you, was saying, yeah, Abraham Lincoln printed his own money and we didn't have a treasury department back then. So it is completely.
I would say, it could have been me. It might not have been, but that sounds like something I would have brought up then. Because it is the system was a lot different. And
so my whole point being was you can't. That's like apples and oranges. You can't compare the two things because how the government was back then is different than how the government is now.
Right, and you also,
Lincoln's party was a comeuppance, so they say he was the first Republican running as a third party, but it was still a two-party system back then. They ignore that. No, but it's the same political system at the end of the day.
The departments that we have now didn't necessarily exist back
then.
Well,
it has expanded a lot. I do believe it is kind of a different beast at this point, but I also believe that we tend to make this huge mistake where we give our presidents too much credit for things they don't have as much control over, and we criticize them too greatly for things that they don't actually affect. Like when you talk about for instance, I don't know necessarily that we can blame a budget and a debt solely on the president every single time.
It's hilarious that we do. The legislator controls the person.
Right. Exactly. It's like we got to remember these things get passed into legislation. There's a lot of people that sign on that, and we just go ahead and say, oh, this was all Obama's fault, or this was all Bush's fault. And it's like, I don't know about that. Or they do something great, like freeing the slaves. And they're like, oh, that was all Abe Lincoln, dude. Abe Lincoln stood up against the whole country
and he said he would have kept slavery.
We ain't having slaves anymore. He's exactly.
Yeah, I would have kept slavery. He would have kept the Union. He wanted to keep the central power structure where it was at.
The party of Lincoln becoming party of Trump. I like that. Well, see, and that's what politicians do.
Okay.
That's what Clinton said. Clinton said the party of Lincoln's becoming the party of Trump.
Because he was a Republican.
And that's what people, they don't realize that today's Republican
he a Whig, though?
Is not Abe Lincoln's Republican. They don't realize that the Dixie Democrats are today's Republican. So that Lyndon Baines Johnson is today's
the
Republican.
laissez-faire liberal. It wasn't the state control liberal. It was the let it go liberal.
And
that's the switch.
I like your point there. Now I see it. Now that you brought that.
Abraham Lincoln was a Whig anyway, though. Like, the quote doesn't mean shit. Like, what she said doesn't mean shit because he wasn't a Republican. He was a Whig.
I forgot about the Whig Party. Yeah, I forgot all about that.
So, like, not only is she wrong, like, she just sounds stupid.
But it doesn't matter.
She doesn't
and
have I figured out right her anymore. Comparison was she was comparing Donald Trump to Abraham Lincoln, is what she was making.
Oh, not the party itself.
Well, and then she also was referencing the two parties. So it's just it was just you just can't make that comparison because they're two completely different things.
I don't see it. Yeah.
The High Chancellor can do whatever she wants, and that has been.
All right, next week we're going to talk about V for Vendetta.
Great.
Did you guys? We watched this on our other show. Did you watch her acceptance speech at the DNC? Because you
show it to him.
If you talk about V for Vendetta, dude, that's how it felt. She was. They zoomed in on her face. We've already shown this on a different show, but I feel like I have to pull it up. It felt like I was watching V for Vendetta. It felt like I was in 1984 because it's just this giant screen in the middle of the DNC, which has all this pomp and circumstance. They got like a pyramid built in the middle and all these people sitting around it, really fucking creepy. And then in this giant, like who knows how big this screen is, but big enough to be in the middle of the Cavs Stadium or wherever they were at. And it's just zoomed in, neck up, and she's just talking to you. And it really felt like
the Chancellor in V for Vendetta.
Exactly. It freaked me out. And then later that day, I watched a movie about Southside and Southside with You. Have you guys seen that yet? Mm-hmm. There's a movie coming out next month about Barack and Michelle Obama's first date.
Okay.
Wow. I have a big problem with that. I think if it had come out next year after he's out of office, okay, fine, make a puff movie about the last president.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of if somebody had made a movie talking about how bad Obama was, a fictional movie about Obama working for ISIS, they wouldn't have let that movie come out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't like that we can just make some puff piece propaganda movie go through Sundance and then while he's still in office. You know what I mean? It makes me feel icky when I watch that.
Up his legendariness,
right?
More as like the final firework hurrah.
Yeah, and it bothered me a little bit to see that, and I saw it on the same day as I saw Clinton's acceptance speech on the and I just started to really feel like Buddy has mentioned, I started to feel like I was living in V for Vendetta at this point. Or,
Did you introduce me as Buddy or Bruce?
Bruce.
Bruce and Buddy are the same person. That's me. I just want to make clarity.
We will get into our special guest. Our secret special guest is coming soon, which is not secret.
I already announced him. Yeah.
It is Lou. Yeah, I caught on to that a little late. But I call Bruce Buddy because we worked together for a long time, and that's how he was introduced to me. But let's see. I want to find you. I really wish. So you saw this while I'm looking for it.
Her shattering the glass of the screen with her smile.
Right. Yeah. Just
what?
Yeah.
Well, it's not cast as that, but that's what it looks like to me. So it's the video of her coming on stage. I don't know if it's for the first time, but it's the speech that got the most recognition of her addressing the DNC. And she comes up on the screen and fucking the first thing that comes up. You've seen Hillary Clinton's fake ass smile, right? Okay, so the first thing you see on screen is her face like just staring at the fucking camera and her
Like
fucking
Wizard of
smile.
Oz style.
And like Wizard of Oz style. But before she comes up like Wizard of Oz, it's just like a fucking mirrored screen, and it shatters and like to a million pieces, and it's her fucking broken ass smile, like looking off directly into your eyes. And fucking on 60 Grit, fucking Kevin just was saying, like, look into her eyes when she talks about this bullshit. And I don't even remember what she said, to be completely honest.
It doesn't matter what she said because she was staring right through your soul
Yeah,
while she
like
said it.
she was getting to you with it. It's in
Sounds
there.
like some
I might not
Gattaca
remember it. My soul's
style.
got it on lock.
Sounds like
My
some
subconscious like soaked it all, I
Sciatica?
promise.
Gattaca?
What's Gattaca?
It's like some genome movie where people in the
I've seen
future are like, they're created, everybody is bred in a specific way to be the best person possible or something. And you're made to take this drug 3 times a day. If you don't take it, the people know about it and they come to get you, and they have their big ass overseer and you can't do shit. It's a real crazy movie.
The Dream
Pretty good.
Police. I'm at this point. I'm just
Great
gonna have to
science.
look. I'm looking in our own podcast archive to find this because I can't find it on the internet. Hardly anywhere.
And was it Gattaca?
Yeah, Gattaca.
Gattaca, man.
G-A-T-A.
Yeah, here we go.
That is a good one.
Here we go.
What do you got up here?
I got it. I pulled it up from 60 Grit. This is the
You're such a
video.
nice guy, Kevin.
This is, well, hey man, we apparently got to it at a good time because I can't find it on YouTube now.
Oh.
I'm finding a completely different speech. So,
Well,
I'm
she
going
gave
to-
her actual like confirmation later.
Rico, if you want to step over here to check this out, I'm going to keep the volume down so
I can
it
just,
doesn't get
he can
echoey
see it
on
on
the
mine
feed.
here.
But those of you, let's see, we'll jump. Wait. Actually, I'm going to have to keep the volume off of it because it's got our commentary over top.
Coming back
Um, Wait a minute. Clinton breaks glass ceiling. There we go. Hillary, that's what I can look up. Give me one more second, guys. Continue
Taking
to
so
talk.
long, man. Jeez.
Typical
I'm in a
Democrat.
hurry for
I
that.
do not ever. I'm a lot of things. You can call me a lot of things, and they'll all be true, but not that Democrat
I'm
part.
sorry. I just can't help the easy jabs. It's just so fucking easy.
It's not
Just trying
fair.
to sneak them in there.
Dude, so do you think we got to deal with this guy from work from like 2 days ago?
Here we
Is that
go.
the same guy?
Here we go, guys.
Oh, I
Are
hope we get to
we
talk
ready?
about that shit on the roof. That shit pissed me off.
Screen sharing it,
Maybe.
and it is time for you to see this that I'm talking about. Well, first of all, it's got all these great presidents like Poppy Bush.
This can't be the same one.
This is exactly the same one. Wait for it.
This isn't.
And
And that fake ass broken ass smile.
It's like Stone Cold, man.
It'll be there. That's insane.
They are
Just
going
stare into it.
ham.
Look at him. Yeah, we love you. Thank you for our intern paychecks.
Yeah, right.
Like, I
Look
guess
at
they
that.
specifically angled the cameras not to show the people that would be protesting.
Yeah.
No, they had plenty of protesters there, but it's
Yeah.
also it's like, look at this whole show. Look at this pyramid that it's built on with the music, the stage in front. This used to be a political event, and now like it's a fucking concert, dude. It's
I was expecting the audio to be like, it's John Cena! The way they built it up.
Can we remake this video but have him come on the screen?
we can do it, but it's got to be Stone Cold
TKO
because
somebody.
Stone Cold legitimately did that breaking glass stuff. That's why every time we've heard it, I go dun 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 dun. Yeah,
Okay.
but stare into her eyeballs, man.
It's hard not to. They're so
Yeah.
fucking. She's so hot.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God. How did
Just-
he pick Monica over her? Who
I
the fuck would do? Look at her.
I honestly like 90s Hillary Clinton more than
The
today's
gams on
Hillary.
that bitch.
right.
The camp.
Just look at her. Is that like a choir dress?
No, it's a
Far
freaking
from-
Chairman Mao thing. That's
Yeah.
that's what Alex Jones always gives her shit for wearing like communist clothes. He's like, she looks like Chairman Mao.
I totally see it.
Yeah.
Oh, old
She's
lady
officially
crying.
Standing with the kid, of course. She was there the whole time.
Yeah, so
It sucks. Me and Rico are watching that with the fucking live stream feed paused a little
5
bit.
second delay.
Oh well, there you
So
go.
yeah, we were talking about it late there for the video watchers. but
that's okay. But now you got to see logos. It was just kind of creepy. You didn't get to hear the speech so much, but you go watch it later if you want, and just literally just stare into her eyes the whole time and just listen to what she says, and you'll feel it, man. It's weird. That whole groupthink thing is weird to me.
So you search for Hillary Clinton breaks the ceiling.
Search for Hillary Clinton breaks glass ceiling.
or just watch us on YouTube.
Or just keep watching us on YouTube. You know, you can get if you want some commentary over the video twice now. You now have 2 different options.
By the way, for any of those video effects editors out there, if you Google glass breaking, you can find that same effect that they used on the DNC video that you just watched. And it takes about 2 seconds to do. So if you want to make a quality production, just like Hillary Clinton's
on the scale of the DNC,
team, you can just Google that and do it yourself. And that's why production costs have come down.
Exactly.
And we circle back.
That's the goal of this.
I'm starting to get it.
Did you ever tell us the craziest place you've ended up with the Blues Brothers shit?
So I haven't been anywhere too crazy. I was supposed to go to Canada.
The least crazy of the destinations.
Yeah, but it was going to be crazy fun. Because I was going to go to Canada, and we were going to do the International Blues Festival. And then they were like giving us the runaround and finally got back to us. And they thought that we had a live band, but we don't have a live band. We mostly do track acts, which is like karaoke songs.
Okay.
And then we sing over them. And they finally got back to us and like, it doesn't make sense to have you guys doing track acts in the middle of all these live performances. So why don't we basically they're like, let's put a pin in it and reconvene next year. And maybe we can find enough time to get a live band to play with you guys.
Okay.
So, had we gone to Canada, I would say that that's the craziest place I've been.
Okay.
Since we didn't, I gotta say, last week in West Virginia was pretty crazy. The first night, so we were in hotels the whole time, but it's the during the show kind of thing, like where they put you in the green room. That's kind of the crazy piece. So the first day was West Virginia at the Braxton County Fair, and we did a show with Elvis. In our green room was a camper. And the camper had air conditioning, which is nice. But the electrical line they had it hooked up to kept flipping the breaker because the AC was drawing too much power. So the first 3 hours we were there, we were out in the sun, hot, in our suits, no AC. And finally they flipped the breaker to a bigger amperage.
Okay, that's
so
good.
It went from 10 amp to 20 amp, and the AC finally kept working continuously, so it started to cool down. But that's probably got to be, I would say that's probably got to be the worst green room experience. But I haven't done anything too crazy. Like I said, I've only been doing it for 2 years.
I got you.
I don't have enough road time under my belt.
Would a live band be the next step for you guys, or you guys want to stay playing?
We use live bands. It typically costs more. Mm-hmm. So our Blues Brothers, our tribute to the Blues Brothers is, I wouldn't say it's aimed at a specific audience, but mostly it's private events and corporate events. Mm-hmm. And some people have more money for entertainment than other people. So if they have the budget, we offer a live band. We work with a bunch of live bands in the Midwest. And if we had to, we could find one in areas across the country that we could use. But it typically costs more because you have to pay more people. You have to get the band, the equipment there, everything.
Yeah.
And then, if you have a live band, you're probably going to hire them for 3 or 4 hours to play. So you got to pay them for their time too.
And they're not cheap.
Plus
their ticket there. Plus, do you normally have to put them up in motel rooms?
If they're close enough, that's why we use local bands. We'll find a band in the area that does blues or jazz or something in the same genre as the Blues Brothers, to cut down on costs, we'll use a local band.
Okay.
If they want to use one of our bands locally, and let's say they're in Colorado, then they would have to get hotels, plane tickets for each member of the band.
I got you.
Because I'm pretty sure
And a music festival isn't going to do that for y'all.
No.
Okay.
No. So
that's
we were trying to find a local band for Canada, but yeah. So typically we'll use live bands. It's cheaper just to have us and our iPad playing music and putting on a show. We do skits and stuff during the show, so it's not just us singing music.
okay.
There's dialogue, there's skits. Are you familiar at all?
With the Blues Brothers? No, not at all. Unfortunately, like, I don't watch a lot of movies.
No?
Like, no, when we were talking about movies earlier, like, I have very little to draw on. And when I watch them, it's normally at, like, 1 a.m., and I don't remember anything. So, like, I'll get halfway through a movie and I'll be like, oh, shit, I remember watching this now, and I'll know how it ends.
So a little back history for you then. Is the Blues Brothers started out on SNL. It was Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi were on Saturday Night Live. Like, they were the first cast members on Saturday Night Live. And there's a lot of, if you ask different people, they'll tell you different things on how the Blues Brothers started. Generally speaking, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi did a song called King Bee on Saturday Night Live, not as the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
That kind of sparked the singing on the show in like a skit format.
Okay.
On Saturday Night Live. That's pretty much how it started. So from King Bee on Saturday Night Live, they developed this music group called the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
And then they performed on Saturday Night Live as the Blues Brothers. And then that gained so much popularity because it had like never been done before. And this was back in the day.
What had never been done before?
Putting a group together as crazy as the Blues Brothers and doing it solely for a skit.
Okay.
And then it gaining such popularity that a movie was made from it.
Okay. I got you.
So, that kind of started the whole, Chris Farley and Dana Carvey and who's the other little guy?
You're asking the wrong person. I always thought it was one of those like shoot 'em up movies. I didn't realize it was a comedy.
It's a comedy.
I had no idea.
It's a comedy, and it's a dry comedy, I would say.
I might like it.
There's Illinois Nazis, and they poke fun at the Illinois Nazis and the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
And drive them off a bridge, and there's some shenanigans, and there's John Candy's in it.
Illinois Nazis? Is that what
Illinois Nazis?
Okay, I thought you were saying an actor's name.
No, Illinois Nazis. John Candy's in it. Did you ever see Uncle Buck?
Yeah, I mean when I was younger.
So that guy.
Okay.
That guy's in it. There's a lot of they kind of started the whole, Wayne's World.
Yeah, I'd never seen it.
The skit started from SNL, and then they made it into a movie.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah, that he had like the thick glasses and shit. Is that Wayne's World?
Well, Wayne's World was like, Wayne's World, part-time, all the time, excellent.
Okay, yeah.
There's like the two friends who like want to be in a big music group and be rockers and stuff, and it never quite works out for them.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I know. Okay, I'm looking at a fucking poster of it. I know what you're talking about. So,
Belushi and Aykroyd kind of started that. And those movies like Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Wayne's World, any movie with Eddie Murphy, those all started based on a skit on Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Not necessarily the same skit, but those people met on Saturday Night Live. They got someone to finance the movie, to make the movie. So they were. It was a pretty big deal.
What a fall Saturday Night Live is taken.
Right. Yeah.
Jesus
for sure.
Christ.
Yeah. It is. I wouldn't say it's atrocious, but they've definitely lost some. I don't know what the word is. Credibility.
I can't
humor?
get through an episode of it anymore.
Yeah. I can't make it through.
You hear you're like fucking. How old are you?
27.
Okay, you're a little older. See, I was so young when that was like coming out and had its comeuppance. I don't really remember. You're just enough older than me to have been there through that shit.
Well, I wasn't there for the Dan Aykroyd, John
Okay.
Belushi era. That was in the 70s.
But I mean, SNL being good.
Yeah, I think I caught the tail end of it with Adam Sandler
Yeah.
and Mike Myers, and I those were like the last greats. But there's a lot of actors now out there, comedic actors, who got their start on Saturday Night Live.
That's awesome. Recently?
Yeah.
Who?
Did you ever see We Are the Millers?
No.
Okay.
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
know.
So we got Lou coming in here. We mentioned him earlier.
Is fucking hilarious.
It's good.
I'm
Well,
glad somebody in here knows more about movies and basically TV than I do.
What was that, Jason Sudeikis?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
what I was talking
Yeah,
about.
he is.
Well, I was
God,
didn't
Lou
know
made
where the Blues Brothers started from.
Oh.
Like Blues Brothers started the whole skit to movie train.
Yeah.
You know.
Right on.
The huge first successful movie that paved way for Coneheads.
Yep.
My personal favorite, The Ladies Man.
Yeah.
Ladies, man. Oh, I forgot about
The
that.
Grown Ups.
In
That
the
was
book.
a reunion meeting for that cast.
Grown Ups was?
Yeah.
I like that movie.
And-
As cheesy as it was.
Kevin James's role was supposed to be played by Chris Farley, but he died and it threw back production on it.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Because he was going to be the whole movie. Probably.
Yeah.
It would have been 100 times better.
Hey, for
Oh,
our
yeah.
audio listeners, Rico has left the conversation. He had other things to attend to, but Lou has now joined us.
We got the.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm waving, but you can't see me wave. So I'm waving.
Yeah.
The Godfather himself is here.
That's funny. I took one of those stupid Facebook quizzes that, allows the NSA to butt rape your profile and figure out who you are. And
Rape if you're willing, son.
It's
Well-
sensual.
rape, the use of the word rape allows the fantasy for me, RJ. Don't fucking ruin that.
I'm so sorry. I should have seen the hair pulled back in a bun and known what that was for.
Exactly.
So you can pull
Handlebar.
with one hand and you can pull with the other. Makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay, makes sense.
It's easier to slam my face into stuff like tables and doors and
I got you. I'm so sorry. I should have fucking grasped that from the get-go.
We've got to get the studio up and running so we can start having visual, because that was a moment that needed the visual to go.
Jerking
Little
off,
bit.
bashing his own
Yeah.
head against shit
Yeah, it was, man.
that's the full effect.
of Lou.
It's wonderful.
Damn right. Damn right.
Since we don't have cameras, Lou is wearing a Deadpool shirt, and I respect you for that.
I have one for every day of the week.
Big fan.
The Deadpool
That is
shirt for
not
every day of the
even a
week?
lie.
That's not.
Okay.
You know those pop-up, so
I'm lucky to have a shirt
we have
for
a
every
buddy
day of the
that
week.
has a bunch of those pop-up figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lou puts that collection to shame. Lou has enough. So we've done it a time or two before before we had this channel, and back when this was just a thing that just Lou and I were doing occasionally. We actually had a backdrop of just pop-up toys,
And that was like half of my collection.
and half of them were just Deadpool toys, and it wasn't even. I would say it was.
There were half of them Deadpool toys. That's way over exaggerating. I have like
there's a lot.
4. And I don't think that's including the chimichanga truck. Yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty. There's definitely no lack of them. And
No.
But it's great. And you actually, random. Tell me about. I saw on our Twitter today, not today, the other day. You've been chatting with the dudes who make Green Arrow.
Yeah. Benjamin Percy
Mm-hmm.
had a little bit of a back and forth. Yeah.
He's been talking to the writer and the cover artist from the Green Arrow comics.
Not so much the cover artist. I just threw him a tweet. He never
it's the writer
threw
that's
one right
been-
back to me or anything.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and haven't read the Rebirth series. It's been really good so far. A lot of symbology in it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cool occult symbolism in there. At least in the first one, we broke it down on one episode. We're gonna have another one soon where we go into it a little bit further.
So what's that whole thing about? You want to plug that? What we're talking about right now?
Which part? What about
The
which
comics?
Comic
Well-
and what you guys are doing with those.
So we've done it occasionally. We do it with the Captain America comics as well, because a lot of our our steady listeners, the ones from the beginning that know Bad Dinner Guest started as sort of a potpourri podcast and has really transitioned into something that mainly focuses on really the abnormal, is the way I like to put it. We don't focus on just the paranormal or just political stuff. We like to talk about, sometimes we just like to break down comics, but something that you guys, buddy, you might not even know, Bruce, you might not know this about me. In college, as a film major, I took a course that was on the history of superheroes and their use as propaganda in the 40s and just their overall. Basically, it broke down our superhero class as sort of as American mythology.
Definitely.
It's like our form of Greek mythology in the way that it's been used. And so what we do is Lou.
If I can interject.
Yeah, go ahead.
Captain America is a direct result of the World War II effort being invented by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Yeah, and so and that is a crucial point. And so what we do is Lou has all the knowledge of the comics themselves and the comic characters, and I have that outside knowledge of how and when certain characters were brought into play and just the overall stuff. So we take it from two angles. We review the comic as a whole, and we talk about it's a real Eiffel Tower of knowledge. And so we'll be coming up with one of those. We have a more serious topic lined up for tonight that I can't wait to dive into. But
that's more conspiracy.
I like to call it alternate
society
history
stuff.
Because it's
well, Mr. Robot reference for you.
Yeah, there will be robots involved in
Exactly.
this discussion too. That'll be cool. But so one of the things that I thought was really funny as RJ and I were discussing what we would potentially try to talk about today.
Oh yeah, how you guys all knew each other. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like
it was 1962.
Yeah.
I was a 3-year-old boy in Taiwan.
I knew you were a child rapist.
He was actually there with me, not as a captor, but we worked in tandem for the donkey show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sometimes he would hold the tail. Sometimes I would hold the tail.
The tail?
We were 3 or 4 years old. I mean,
On the donkey show.
Yeah, but why do you need to hold the donkey's tail? Isn't that there to like brush up against you and give you a little more sensation?
Depends on the position.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't want to do that on reverse cowgirl.
Okay, I completely makes sense now. I did not realize.
You gotta keep it out of the way of the camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now. I was just imagining straight like what is it, doggy style? I didn't think you guys would be. You're Korean. You're in Korea. You have to be a little more flexible.
Korean donkeys. Well, actually, all Asian donkeys are contortionists.
Okay.
By trade.
Okay.
That's how you get your. Depending on the country, that's how you get state certified as a donkey. You got to be a contortionist over there.
Okay. Okay. So it
helps with the donkey punching.
Okay. So you have to be a master of all then.
Yeah.
To get your donkey show certification.
Their donkeys are so trained. It's ridiculous. They put our donkeys to fucking shame.
Now, as
that's where all the outsourcing goes.
Who was the better contortionist, the donkey or you or Kevin? In the situation, who was more flexible?
Considering how young we were, we were.
Oh yeah.
Because they didn't really care about us.
Yes, Korea.
Right.
Assumed.
Fucking Koreans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bruce saved us. He raped the king donkey to death.
Yeah.
The donkey that was keeping you down, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wore protection.
Yes. You got to. You got to. Herbert got a syphilis.
And then did you
That's
just
where it
molest
started.
them for their payment for saving them from the donkey shows, or how did you?
It all worked out. It was mutually beneficial for everyone, and
Kismet.
yeah.
He made it more of a PG show. It's kind of like how Pee Wee Herman was just disgusting, and then they made a child show from it.
And then he went to a child show his own and ended his show.
Yes, yes. Although, who goes to a porno theater to just watch?
Who goes to a porno theater anymore?
Cinematography is fantastic.
Fair enough.
How they get those angles, I'll never know.
Have any of you guys ventured into one before? Like seriously?
No.
No?
But Zach and Miri make a porno.
Hilarious.
It's a full-on adventure sport. People get frosted.
Frosted.
Love that movie.
Frosted tips.
Frosted like a fucking cake. I want to say Brian O'Halloran. He plays the cameraman in it. He was in Clerks. He played Randall.
Yep.
And he was the one that Katie Morgan allegedly shit in his face.
In real life?
In the movie.
Okay.
You gotta watch Zach and Mary make a
I've watched it before. Again, I watch all movies at 1 a.m. and I don't remember any of them.
Me neither, man.
Well,
Man, I don't have no stinking bedtime, man. Just go to sleep, man.
is this a movie reference that I'm not getting?
Yes.
God damn it! It's always going to be that.
That was a Cheech and Chong.
Oh, I haven't seen those movies since I was like 9. And my dad's showing me how hilarious
Why are
these
you
movies
watching
are.
all these movies at a super young age that are
Because my dad would show me them and then tell me
Because
how
you had a
bad
cool
they
dad
were.
like my dad was.
That's how
I was 3-year-old. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
Exactly. Fucking some Die Hard, I can get down on that shit.
Right.
No, he took us to see Fear.com. Did you guys see that shit?
No.
I'm sitting in the theater watching Fear.com going, this is only a movie. This is only a movie. This is only a movie. It was a fucking horror film my older sister wanted to see, but she was like a year older. She probably shouldn't have been there either.
Right?
It's fucking, yeah. Fucking terrified. Now I watch that movie and I laugh at it, but...
Next week, we'll be discussing parental issues and how to raise a child.
And
101.
what to do when you wake up and your mom's blowing you.
Oh, what?
What?
Come on, man.
Well,
See,
Luke.
now,
So when you were filming this, was it like planned or did you just like
Oh, it
pull
was
out the
great.
camera?
It was rape.
Okay.
back to rape again.
So
yeah, Lou's been on the chat for 5 minutes, and I've heard the word rape like 8
6
times.
times.
See, this
is
is
that why you were late?
Yes.
Okay. That makes a little bit
I
more
had
sense.
to
I was
put
over here and I was
the penguin
texting Kevin and I was
from
like,
the
Lou's
Madagascar
late.
films
Is he
online.
okay? And apparently you're just getting mouth raped by
By penguins.
penguins.
Yeah.
They're fucking beaks though. I just hope you're alright, man.
Yeah.
I just hope you're alright. How did you guys actually meet
It
though?
explains why you waddled in here.
It's
Well,
that's-
they wouldn't use
yeah.
their beaks.
Yeah.
Okay.
well that and it's how you attract them. You got to waddle.
Oh, you're just stuck in that waddle.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even rape. It was completely consensual. Or you were asking for it, is what you're saying.
You get what
You
you
were
pay for.
waddling. Okay.
So the next topic on today's
Yeah.
show.
So you guys were talking like you
make
guys
a
don't have movies?
non-PC network. They said. Great idea. They said.
No, it's more of an allegory for the restaurant industry.
It's allegorical.
Yeah, so that whole big thing, was actually a pretty good one because that's really how it does feel.
Because it's every restaurant.
Like being raped by a penguin?
I can't say about Penguin actually. Yeah,
Depends on the Jewish holiday.
No, it was a donkey show is what it was.
it was more like a donkey show.
Wasn't
You
it a
get-
Mexican restaurant? No, it was Gooey's.
No, it was a grilled cheese,
Yeah.
specialty grilled cheese.
Yeah, I don't even know what you would call that. Like as far as dining guidelines
They
go.
refer to it as fast casual. Is what?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it's like Americana.
Like you on the scale of like Chipotle thing.
Yeah, we were like a Chipotle.
No, it was like before
Speed.
Melt came to town. Melt.
What are you guys pre-Melt? Because I just assumed
Yeah.
you were a ripoff. It was just
We
a
were
terrible guy
pre-Melt.
running the
We
business.
were pre-Melt.
Because Melt took off and they're doing fine. Gooey's is by, right?
We, location.
Hardcore.
How was it? That is the best drunk food. Gooey's was right there on the corner, right by all the fucking
Yeah, but
bars.
we didn't get the clientele that we were expecting.
When
We
you're
wanted-
dead
yeah.
from 11 to 1 in the morning when the fucking bar starts to pour out next door,
Yeah.
that moved.
Yeah.
That was like half
Charlie
the
Bear
business.
was your
Yeah.
clientele, so it was just all trashy ass chicks.
It was
Pretty much.
all. We could have just been open every day.
9 out of 10 people had herpes.
after 9 p.m.
That's Columbus, sir.
Yeah.
We really, it was a place. And so, but what was interesting besides that being a shit job was, especially for those that listen to all of our stuff, that's how Lou and I met. Lou and I met at a different job.
We did.
ended up
Kildare's.
working together. Yeah, Lou and I were both bouncers.
Well,
The Irish bar, right?
guys
You
can
were a
imagine
truthfully,
that.
yeah.
No, I was
pre-accident.
This
Yeah.
was pre-accident.
Oh,
This was pre-accident.
couple years.
Pre-accident.
This
Yeah.
was like way pre-accident, but this also was.
The rappers would say it happened a minute before that.
Yeah, this was back in the day.
Yeah.
And also, I was more of the work the front door, check the IDs, and try to get people in there. Like I was the guy that's calling out you know, trying to be more friendly. I wasn't really the.
So you were.
I was the guy that ran up and threw people 10 feet off the dog pile of a fight.
And then I was just good. Yeah, Lou was that. I was the guy that people would walk up to. They'd be like, "You're awfully small for a bouncer," and I would look back and be like, "Well, yeah, you think there's probably a reason for that, right?" And that was usually about the end of it. Was
right.
Like, yeah, you can see how small I am, and they still hired me to do this job. So what's that tell you, bud?
Right.
And that's usually where that would end. But now I don't think I'll be getting any bouncer jobs anytime soon.
Yeah, you got that fucking car accident. Ripped your fucking arm off.
What the hell does that have to do with the price of gasoline?
Just some fucking muscles moved around and shit.
So,
Right?
You know, just sliced around. But
and
Technique grasshopper.
and our so what else? It's been though. So Bruce and I know each other from this place. Sean, Lou, our buddy Dan from Dan and Ted. From I'm Dan. Have you met Ted? Our other podcast buddies. We all know each other. DeJean, our other Bad Dinner guest friend, our former co-host. We all know. Well,
Mr. Gray.
While we may not have met each other all at this job, we at all one point in time worked together at this job.
Yeah.
DeJean got that job from being my roommate. But yeah, so we all had that in common.
Brian worked there?
Brian, Brian Ott from Ott Studios, the painter that we will be hopefully having on within the next month. His show got pushed back a month. So it was supposed to be in a couple weeks, but they're pushing it back, which is cool. That just gives him more time to make it even better.
Right.
But that's pretty exciting. But yeah, so we had artists in there, we had writers, we had directors, we had radio personalities.
It was a cool crew. It was just a bad situation. And Lou may not know this, so I'm gonna give you a little tidbit here. I was in such a precarious position at that restaurant.
Hard. Thank you for that word, too.
Because it was hard. I knew the owners of the restaurant personally, and then I started working in the restaurant, and I was kind of given a supervisory role and none of the power or respect that goes with it. I got shit on pretty hard in that role. Kevin was the buffer for that.
Right.
Kevin was the buffer for that, and I tried my best to make it work, and it was just, it did not work at all.
It makes you feel any better, buddy? There was this one time, Lars was running a shift, and me and Sean were running late because...
Yeah.
And, we were like 30 minutes, 45 minutes late. Yeah.
Okay.
Traffic.
Yeah. And I call up Lars, and I'm like, hey, man, we're running late, dude. I had to change a flat tire, bro. And he's like, all right, whatever, dude. Just get fucking here already. Or, whatever the fuck Lars would say. So we come in, and this is back when I had my Beamer. So I pull in, and we're in the parking garage, and I'm looking at my hoodie, and I'm like, I do not look like a dude that just changed a fucking flat tire in the rain. So I threw my hoodie on the car and kind of wiped my car a little bit with my hoodie just to, Sure enough, that son of a bitch grabs my sleeve. Oh, you did change your tire. But
That's a little extreme, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I would even do that.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, but
that is assault.
That's one of those takes one to know one, though, because
that's dirty as shit.
If there was any dude that was gonna be on point with knowing when people were lying about why they were late, it was that dude, because that's the same manager we had that once took a nap in a booth for 2 hours.
Well, see,
in the lobby, just took a freaking nap.
At that point, I could just be like, dude, it took so long to change the tire because I was stoned.
Also, he wasn't going to get... man. That reminds me. So we had a manager once. You guys remember our buddy Nate. We had this filmmaker on crew. That was the greatest part about being... And the reason we even bring this up is this was the one job we worked where almost everyone had an artistic passion. And we thought it was kind of relatable because a lot of the people that listen to us are because they're doing similar things like us. They want to do this kind of stuff. And so we had this artist as a manager talking to one of our directors. And he comes up and we had to talk to Nate because Nate was a little drunk on the job. So, here I am the manager with another manager coming up to talk to him about like, hey man, like we can smell it on your breath sort of deal. And buddy, you remember that was a frequent problem. This wasn't a one-time thing, but this was a time where he was so drunk we had to keep him in the back washing dishes. We couldn't even have him talk to employees because it was just projecting.
Oh, that's fucking rough, dude.
And this was your manager.
No, I was the manager.
Oh, okay.
My job back then so much was trying to keep the place running without customers or the owners knowing what was going on, because we couldn't afford the turnover on one hand. Like we had to keep who we had because we were having such a hard time bringing people in that would stay or bringing anybody in that was good. And so what I had to do a lot of times was cover people's asses and make sure they didn't get in trouble, so that way in turn they would still come to work and work hard enough for us to get the job done. So we're trying to have one of those situations where it's a first strike kind of scenario where we're like, hey dude, we need you to stay back here, get your shit together, wash these dishes, whatever. This is like your warning. If you come back in here like this again, it's we're gonna have no choice.
I would love to get a warning for being drunk on the job.
Again, we're working on a restaurant on campus where no one showed up to work sober.
Right.
Well, if I fired everybody who showed up high, it would have just been me all the time.
Yeah.
If I fired everybody that came in hungover, I wouldn't have been able to even work myself.
I think I went in rolling a few times actually on Molly. I mean, I was on fucking campus,
grilled
dude.
cheese ever.
Oh, I just love grilled cheese. But so okay, back to the story. We're talking to this guy, and my other manager kind of comes at it from a different approach. That's where we were doing the good cop, bad cop, and I usually just took the good cop role. It was like, I'll let you batter him down, and then I'll come in and be like, hey, now let's find a solution here, because I don't like to be both.
Don't make me suck back in fisty.
You can drink on the job, just don't pregame.
Just wait until the bartenders bring us down our shots and do your drink then. No. And so the argument, basically what it came down to was Nate's response was classic, because he's like, I don't understand, Brian's like, I don't understand why you have to get drunk before you come in every day. He's like, well, you know what? He's like, everybody else in here smokes a blunt on their way in, but you know what? I don't have fucking $10. I have $4. If I could get high for $4, then I wouldn't come in drunk. And that was his argument to his managers. And then he calls the guy a prick and goes in the back and starts washing dishes.
That sounds like me at Panera.
Yeah. He's like, well, all I have is $4, fucking prick, and then just walks in the back to do his dishes.
I wish the solution was just giving him like a bud every day. I really wish that was your guys'. We can't afford the overhead. We can afford to support this. Dude, if you don't come in drunk, we'll smoke you up. Just please work through your shift without stuttering.
Right.
That would have been fucking beautiful.
I do want to talk about the worst day in Gooey's history.
Tell us about the worst day in Gooey's history.
No, the worst day in my Gooey's history. The absolute worst day was the day we closed. That was just a bad day for everyone. But before then, the worst day in Gooey's history, I'm about to go to sleep. It is like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I get a call from, I think, Kevin, and he's like, dude, someone broke the urinal in the bathroom. There is water all the way up to the door, and we don't know how to turn it off.
Yep.
Because it was after the fucking cutoff.
It was after.
It was after the cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes into that little.
My options were turn off all the water in the building or not, or let it keep going. Those are my options. So I turned off all the water in our part of the building.
So that night,
this only gets better.
I worked that morning, and so I basically get dressed again. Because I sleep in the nude. It's liberating. If you haven't done it, do it.
I'm there with you, man. We should fist bump, but I know your hands have been... Oh, well.
I get dressed, drive back down to the restaurant, and there's legit water to the door.
Almost a swimming pool.
What's worse is there are still people waiting in line, ordering food and eating food in a restaurant that's literally
flooding.
It's flooded.
I love drunk people.
It is flooded. They did not care.
Right. At any moment, health could come in and fucking rip a food
You think
license.
the health department employee is going to be up that late?
Dude, that's how they make their bread.
Here was my argument to it, because I tried to close the place down immediately when that happened. I told
and I agreed.
I said, we will serve whoever's in line right now, lock the doors, whoever's eating, they need to finish up. They need to get out of here.
Right.
Because there was nothing. Half that restaurant was chicks in high heels in inch thick water. So all it takes is one of these girls who is
put up a sign and keep doing business.
Who's a slipping liability as it is. All it takes is one of them to fall.
We actually didn't have enough signs because of how large of a situation we're talking about. Here.
This is in the back. We're talking the entire lobby. The entire first floor has an inch of water.
Like, the only place that didn't have water was the fucking emergency exit in the back of the building.
Yeah. And so my thought was, let's get all these people out of here, because all it takes is somebody who's already at tripping risk at this point, just because of how drunk and they are and because of their shoes. Now we have this water. All it takes is one of them to fall and have a rich dad, and boom, we're out of business. So my thought was, let's close. And then the owner calls me and says, why are you closing?
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I'm going to preface what you're about to say with the owner of our restaurant was drunk as shit.
At a bar with his brother.
At a bar. His brother was in town.
Like, usually.
Yeah. Drunk as shit. And it took maybe a good 45 minutes to get a hold of him in the first place.
Right.
So I finally get a hold of him, tell him the situation. Then this happens.
And you literally had, like, the 6 smartest people saying, dude, we need to shut this shit down.
Yeah.
All it takes is for one person to fall on all of the candy-coated crack-hard surfaces and fuck themselves up. Liability suits, health board suits, risk of losing the business, and the inability to reopen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not to mention all the bad reviews you could have been getting from the 40 drunk people in there who don't know why there's all of a sudden dookie water on the floor.
That being said,
granted, it wasn't actual dookie water, but still, they are drunk and they're watching
water come out of a toilet.
Out of the doorway of the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah, so they're not going to be the ones to think, oh, well, this is going to be top.
Let me
and
investigate
it's like a fucking homicide scene.
I helped them fix the bar toilet at Cantina once, because same situation, but it was after. And, like, I walk in, and it's, like, leaking everywhere, and the fucking security guy's in there, like, I don't know what to do. I was like, do you not know what to do here? And he's like, no, like, I don't know what we're going to do. And I was like, go find a fucking Allen wrench, turn that shit, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Came back in, like, 30 minutes later, there was a sign on it, and he turned it off.
Well, some dude
it was literally like, he grabbed, like, that part of it and ripped from there.
Did you, like, find out who did it?
Yeah, it was 3 dudes. We saw the video afterwards.
Did they lose at trivia night?
No.
We didn't even have trivia night.
Yeah, you did. That was my, like, I always wanted to go to that.
Yeah, it wasn't that night, though.
It was
on, like, a Friday
It was
night.
3 drunk guys, and we see them walk into the bathroom, and then, like,
all hell
10
breaks
seconds
loose.
later, 2 of them come out, and then a third one comes out, and they're all soaked, and then they leave.
Jesus.
Like typical drunk college kids do.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucked something up. Better get out of here before shit hits.
Who cares about the $30 I just spent on food?
Yeah.
You step the fuck out.
So,
and that's what's great about this story is we were all 3 involved and have very different perspectives, because I don't know if you remember this, Bruce. That was Lou's last day of work.
It was. Yeah.
Lou actually got fired over this, essentially. Well, it was, I don't know, it depends on who you ask. Our boss would say that he fired Lou. Lou kind of walked out. It was a shouting match, which is...
Well, when you say, see you around, failure, kind of felt that as telling you to go fuck yourself, I'm not coming back.
This man was a fortune teller, and he couldn't see... No, I'm sorry.
No. This guy is so smart that 4 or 5 years into a business venture, he's still paying people out of his own fucking pockets thinking he's going to turn this shit around.
Yeah.
This happened, but...
it has
staff.
Yeah, it has, and it wasn't even so much. Well, my thing was like, this is why you have a staff in place.
This is why we need to find the fucking sugar mamas.
You here for a sugar mama call? You need to go on the road with this man.
You need to come on the road with me. I can pick you up at least 50 somethings every night. I do a show.
Nice.
Is there like something you could do backstage for y'all?
Yeah.
Dude, I'll put on the cod piece and just warm up the fucking crowd.
So what we'll do is we're gonna start a world tour. It's gonna be Soul Man, Bad Dinner Guests, the network, and then Sucker Magazine.
Kinky Pinky.
And it's just gonna be because I think we can the Kinky Pinky tour.
I'll shave.
That's Lou's thing.
And write in glitter on my chest, Kinky Pinky.
Okay.
But yeah, because
how
I feel
far
like
backstage can I get during this?
As far back as you want.
Okay,
How far
thank
can
God.
you fist?
Elbow is the farthest I've ever made it. That was $150.
I used to backstage, not back door.
Ooh. Isn't it the same? I thought that was like street lingo for back door.
Depends on the pleasure palace you're in.
Will get you to the elbow, the back door.
Excellent.
Yeah, so 300, clear up to the fucking whatever the show is. Your
chicken wing.
So RJ has experience in intubating cows and inseminating them.
How are you going to call these ladies cows? They are nice women.
No, I'm talking about your previous farmhand experience.
Those sheep have nothing to do with this. What are you saying?
Emphasis on hand, farmhand.
Somewhere out there, there's someone listening to this that is taking every word we've said today seriously, and they're like, "Oh my God, these are the worst people," because I've never heard sarcasm before. Because I keep picking up on that.
The beautiful part of this moment is they don't have to understand sarcasm.
That's how you take it, right?
What happened between me and those sheep was magical. Okay? To reduce it to sheer fantasy or sarcasm, as you'd like to call it, is just wrong.
There was no silence in those lambs.
No, but I didn't pay to hear them be quiet.
So I would say that was the worst night in Gooey's history.
Yeah, it definitely was. Getting a urinal pulled out and getting told you had to stay open. Yeah, well, that's what. Yeah, go back to.
Okay, so because I laid it out, I was like, you seriously have these fucking people eating food in fucking toilet water?
Well, from my end of it, here's how it played out.
You didn't tell this Kevin.
No, I said that to the manager.
We were on the same page. Cool. Lou and I had a discussion in which I said, "Hey, don't let anybody else in here. Get that door locked and hang out by the door.
And legitimately,
so when the owners or anybody who we need to come in can come in, but everyone else needs to stay out. And that way, when people leave, you can close the door." And the owner had access to cameras on his phone. And I remember he comes in very upset with Lou about Lou throwing people out and keeping people out, which has been my direction. So he comes in cold and not realizing Lou's just been doing what he's been asked by his boss.
To set up, because this was a situation that was boiling for a while at this point.
Yeah.
Nobody had respect for the owner because the owner didn't know how to do the fucking job that he wanted us to do. This is supposed to be this fucker's passion. Yeah, you never saw him do any of the fucking work. He had nothing to do with writing any of the fucking so-called training material.
That would be this guy.
Exactly.
That would be Bruce.
Right. And they worked him over worse than a fucking Israelite slave in fucking Egypt. You're not moving those boulders fast enough.
Yeah.
What the fuck? His passion was grilled cheese or running a restaurant?
His passion was the appearance of being a restaurateur.
Okay.
While his wife earned the real money. Okay. That fueled his bullshit
So this was his like fucking hobby, and you guys were the reason.
Exactly.
He had been successful doing construction and consulting and stuff like that.
He had a different strong kind of background, wanting to move into the blue or the white collar kind of world.
He just had a different background and had been used to running different businesses and
running people a different way. Construction workers can get told.
My boss is like that. My boss
that motivates them to work harder.
Right.
You can't do that with kids. And
my boss is just like that.
Working in a restaurant.
And the difference with the two mediums, because that's what they are. Food is an art, and building is an art. The difference with the two mediums is a minute on the lips, lifetime on the hips, whereas a building can last for almost ever.
Right.
You know, I mean, you have people putting their real heart and pride into construction, where, you know, nobody that worked at Gooey's felt it was a career.
All the chaos in things like construction and all the things that come in strong back labor, all the chaos is done prior. So you're coming in there after the major chaos, which in a restaurant, when you're making the food and shit, it's constant chaos and there's constant issues appearing. And running a lot of businesses, it's like that. But those guys, I work for a guy now, and like he's made millions doing, strong back labor and then running a business.
Well, there's a mindset in jumping different mediums when it comes to as far as the product and service you sell.
Exactly.
You know, if you follow, if you ever read Miyamoto Musashi's The Book of Five Rings, he goes in to say that one lesson teaches 1,000 because it's the application of your knowledge.
Exactly.
ASVAB test for the military and IQ test how you apply what you know.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what you know. And you literally had everybody who had strong restaurant experiences. I've been in and out of kitchens since I was 14 years old, working at school with peppered in security work.
Right.
I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And this dude literally has no idea. You know, the only thing he knows how to do is make a handful of drinks and pour a decent beer.
Right. Right.
Because he's a fucking drunk.
Right.
But as you can see, Lou is definitely a lot more salty at this man
right.
than Bruce and I are.
Well, this guy.
How did you get fired though? I keep fucking distracting.
Because that's how to go fuck himself.
Yeah, okay. This guy took Lou to a whole different level, and it was not done with any
respect or candor
at all.
Ever since the incident we're not going to go into now, they saw me as public enemy number one, and it's probably because his wife wanted to fuck me. That's why she named her puppy after me. So
I never made that connection. That's awesome.
That was a running thing. That was another. I remember Nate used to always talk about it too. How she would get drunk and she would always touch male employees on the chest and talk to them when she was drunk.
Tickle nipples.
Yeah, it was real.
I bet if any of you guys would have jumped on it, she would have.
Oh, she was total cougar.
He's already like, yeah, I got that.
No.
Bruce, did you fuck the wife?
You knew she was probably dirtier than what I would know. So
Bruce doesn't look like he gives a fuck about how dirty though.
It was
more of a power thing in Bruce.
Are we talking a petri dish?
It's always a power thing. That's all. It's all it ever has.
But this bitch was going to take power of him for once.
Yeah.
Once.
Did
you miss the Egyptian
slave? This is the whole problem with me being in the position that I was in, because I know them personally. I'm still friends
personally
with them.
Or intimately?
I'm still friends with them.
Intimately.
Yeah, like I used to live in their basement. I rented a room from them.
Right.
Like I know that.
Hence the precariousness of your situation.
This is the problem that I was in. Is they have faults.
Right.
Serious faults. But they also have good qualities.
You don't make it far enough to open a restaurant without having good qualities.
Well, they never show their good parts of themselves when they're at when they were at the restaurant because they were an owner mode.
Yeah. As somebody who got drunk with them several times, I would say that
I'm still friends.
And that demeanor works so well in strong back labor, but when you need people that are under you micromanaging things for you there's too much chaos to micromanage.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When you're building buildings. It's about materials going to the right places and making.
Well, you have a blueprint.
Yeah.
And that's what you're fucking doing. Yeah. Everybody, and that's you're working with people that when I wish I had the kind of goddamn vision to look at blueprints and see what gifted people see. You know, there are people that can look at blueprints in a vacant lot and they see what the fuck is going to be there.
Right. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, it's like you know, a fish isn't stupid because it can't learn to climb a tree.
But there are so many different ways.
It's stupid because it can't remember shit and fucking weed its own
There are
shit.
so many different ways to chop an onion, and that's where it got lost in translation.
I got you.
And and with me, it was as far as the business side of it. It just seemed like there was an inability to step out of
their comfort zone.
Not even a comfort zone, though, of their own perspective as far as seeing themselves as the customer all the time, not realizing hey, I know this is what you want, but you're 10% of our demographic, okay? You're ignoring the 80%, you're ignoring your actual basis.
You're ignoring the fact that most of these kids can barely afford a half sandwich.
And you've got 12 to 15 people that are your demographic that work for you, and they're trying to tell you this is what we would do, this is what would sell to us. And it was always just sort of, I don't think that would work.
And
it's not even that. It's the fact, dude, this isn't fucking working.
Yeah.
And he tried moving locations, right?
No.
I thought they moved across.
The whole story behind it was, the reason why they got that space was because one of the owners worked for the management company of the space and worked in a percentage of rent instead of an actual monthly rent per square footage. It was a percentage of income. And that was the rent of the... So they stayed there.
It was a sweetheart deal.
It was a great deal. It was in a bad spot for that restaurant. That restaurant would have killed it either 3 blocks north or 3 blocks south.
You guys needed a $3 sandwich. I was in there a few times. You guys needed a basic sandwich that a drunk person could bring the $3 out of their wallet for and pay you for it. I had you guys had an all veg. That's the only vegetarian food I ever ordered because your shit was so greasy.
Mhm.
But I got
and you think about it, like, we're a sandwich shop that never took the huge clue from Subway to, hey, every month we should make one of these a special and run it $2 or $3 cheaper.
your cost couldn't have been that high. I've worked in enough restaurants.
You'd be surprised.
That's the problem.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the whole point that Lou
Shredded
and
cheese is
Kevin-
a cunt.
Yeah, the whole point that
I worked at
Lou and
pizza
Kevin
shop.
are trying to make is that they were so steadfast on how they wanted to do it that they weren't open to the idea and opinion of doing it a different way. So that's the whole thing where there's a million ways to cut an onion, but they were forcing you to cut it this way. And it was part of the micromanaging that happened that honestly made everyone pissed off at them.
Okay.
Right.
So we told them if they want to cut down on food costs, you switch to sliced cheese. You can chop it up on the flat top when it gets on there, but that's how you can control your portions.
Why don't you shred your own fucking cheese and
We
just bring it
did.
in
We
some
bought
an
it in
hour?
blocks.
We
We
did.
bought it in 5
The
pound
fucking
blocks.
oh,
But that's the thing is then you're trusting your employee in a rush to actually use a measuring cup every time they've got 35 sandwiches on the line
Yeah.
that they have to make, and you think they're really not just going to grab a handful.
Yeah.
Of sandwiches.
Well, let's be
when it's
honest,
a
dude.
Slice. Okay, that's
why you
portion
teach them what a
control.
handful is then.
But
Exactly. But, like, if
you
you-
still have
This is about a half. This is about a full.
It's just the amount of
But
fingers.
nobody
is
knew
what they're
that.
showing
Pretty
the
fucking
audience.
much. Well, it depends on how big your hand is.
So, yeah,
But
but
that's the other thing is, and then you're putting
You
me in a
should-
predicament as the person has to train all 8 of these people here. Now I have to train 7 different ways to do a handful and a half handful. Like, no, that's not efficient.
No, I'm just
Nope.
know people are going to go for their hands, put gloves on their hands, and make them.
Oh, we wore gloves. Don't think
Yeah,
we
no,
wore
but what
gloves.
I'm
Yeah.
saying is like the same problem happened at I worked at the Taco Bell where I couldn't use the fucking tongs for everything. It just they want to make the food so quick. So instead of telling me use this shit I can't use to do my job,
2.5 and drive through.
just show me. And what I did so the managers wouldn't yell at me is I learned by throwing shit on the fucking scale they had what it like the amounts to put on.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it didn't take that long to learn it.
The problem is though, is that you have such high turnover, high.
Yeah, you guys got shit.
No,
Yeah, and you're also
the high turnover, but you also have to throw in the fact that for
Some people just didn't
13
care.
but for
Yeah,
10 hours of the day, we're fucking dead.
What were you guys paying people per hour?
8.
It
$8,
was like
$9,
$8,
depending.
$10.
Because
Yeah.
if you had a higher wage,
Yeah.
you could compete a little better with having a
No,
better labor
But the
force.
thing is,
Yeah.
It's
We-
a part-time
we had
job regardless.
that, but we would be dead for 10 to 12 hours.
I gotcha.
And then it would just be nuts to butts rush.
For the
Okay.
last 3 hours.
Yeah.
And there were other little things like that. Like, for instance, we had to work with only one bread company because there was only one bread company in Columbus that would make
supply our
inch-thick Texas toast. Now,
So we
I
can't.
suggested several times we
I
would
do
have,
know.
It was
we
too
would
much
have
bread.
4 to 5, and it was too much bread, and we would get that all the time. And so I would suggest, hey, we could get rid of one of our common complaints and allow some wiggle room to maybe undercut one of these vendors if we switch to 3/4 of an inch, because it's not going to be
You were at a
enough.
half inch?
We were at a full inch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jesus,
I would
going down
come
to
down-
3/4
Come
of
down
an
to
inch?
3/4 of an inch, so then we
Still
would
too
have
much bread.
So then we'd have options
Yeah.
as to who we could buy from.
Yeah.
And when this bread company, they would screw us over all the time. We'd constantly be throwing bread away.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have bread that we couldn't use, and so
There's
I would.
moldy bread that came
But
from
we were
the
stuck.
bread. From the
Literally. Literally, you
From
showed
the
me
bakery.
packages.
Coming
Both of
off-
you showed me packages with fucking mold on it
coming off the truck moldy, and so I suggest that
because nobody bought their shit.
exactly because we're the only place that uses that inch thick bread, and so when I suggest that we do that, no, it has to be inch thick Texas toast because I market it as inch thick Texas
Right.
toast. Well, then
Then change the fucking words, you dumb fuck. It's a computer.
Exactly. And it's like, here you have this guy that went to school for marketing who's trying very hard to tell you about the things that he learned in marketing and is just 1 year out the other every time. But yeah, I'd like to pay somebody to come in and do marketing. Dude, I'm trying. Just let me. I'll do it for free because I need. If not, I feel like I
I need
wasted
exposure.
$30,000 of my money to
You know, that's how I got hired, because I was going to DeVry for marketing. And that's why
I can't tell you how many people were just like, I would love to do this for you. Oh, would you also like to work a couple shifts to help whatever,
Mhm.
and then that's how people got hired, and they never end up doing what they were like good at.
And you know why? As soon as I figured out the ship was sinking, I did not want to put my name attached to a failing marketing campaign. I wasn't even out of school, and I fucking knew that.
But to your point, as far as the inch thick bread, is he could have very easily switched to half inch and say an inch, and you still have a half inch on either side to make
Exactly.
an inch. You can still market it as an inch.
Exactly.
I was thinking,
And that's
fucking
an inch bread. That
could-
inch bread, half of a slice is a goddamn serving, dude.
Yeah.
No doubt. I can eat more food than any of my friends in one sitting. And one of those sandwiches
Oh,
I struggled to
fucking-
finish.
Fucking Chipotle
Like,
burrito.
Your guys' fries are fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, but I couldn't eat any
That's
of them.
probably the best part of the restaurant was the fries.
Yeah.
But at the same time, took so long to prep.
Yeah.
It was worth it,
Took
though,
so
but I
long
couldn't
to
get
get.
to them because I ate a fucking sandwich that I ordered that had fucking 2 inches of bread.
Well, that's a
on
life lesson you should learn. You always eat the fries first.
Damn right.
it.
Because, well, and that's, you get to them while they're still hot.
Yep.
You guys.
But I'll tell you what I miss.
Dinner very often?
The mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
That shit was on point.
Ryan
Now-
always tried to sell me on that.
And
Couldn't
that's
do
the
it.
problem with that, though, is if you made it wrong, a whole batch tasted like garbage.
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard a story about like a guy coming in the mashed potatoes at KFC,
Kinky.
and ever since it was probably Lou that did it,
Mm-hmm.
but ever since that, like anything that's saucy or anything like that served at a restaurant, I just don't bother with, because I could see like one jerk off that hated their job as much as you guys probably hated yours. Just
I
go
would
back,
never.
fucking beaten off
Yeah.
because
Okay.
they're still on Molly, as you've said, and you just you hear that noise that mac and cheese is making, and it brings you back to home, and you're just like, oh my god, I got to do this right here. Fuck the customer.
The worst thing I've ever done at a restaurant, there was this guy, I was working at
You have to
Mako
name names.
Tell, and there was this guy that was stalking our female employees. He was literally
That's
literally
fucked up.
following them from the front door of the restaurant to the front door of their fucking house.
How did they eventually fire you for that?
They didn't fire me. I actually quit.
It's like, I'm a follower.
I took his grilled stuffed burrito shell. I was looking him right in the eyes, dropped it in the fucking garbage, pulled it out of the garbage, and made his burrito.
You're a model employee.
Fucking A right I
I
am.
respect
For
that
guy,
gusto.
I would-
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
respect
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, because one of the girls was almost short enough to be a midget.
Ooh,
Not even,
nice.
yeah, like
Give her
she was
my
like,
number, dude.
yeah,
That's Lauren.
Jill Winkle.
Yeah?
After
So-
work, did you just pick her up and take her home like a briefcase?
you could.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
You're both fondling your beards thinking about this. It's
I
weird.
never don't like. Oh, it's gonna be bad when my beard gets a little bigger. I will never stop playing with it. I'm like that. I'm like a child.
Oh, are you growing it out?
Oh yeah.
I remember the titties and ass proportion to both of these
I know.
broads
Uh-huh.
and hourglass figures. They were very pretty girls.
They were actual hourglass
I
size.
swear to God, they were proportionate. She wasn't a midget. She was more like a homunculus.
So,
A small.
What is homunculus?
I was going into
Thank
it.
you.
A small proportion person, just a shorter person.
Okay.
And he would literally follow them home. It was going on like every day for a fucking week. And there was actually 3 girls.
He followed 3 girls home. Would he come back
Yeah, he would order them. He would order food.
and then follow one home, come back,
Fucking
order another
creep.
Dolphins Belgrano?
No, not individually, because
Oh, okay.
these girls lived at this apartment complex called Broad Meadows. Really shitty.
Hey, dude, if you forget
Yeah.
the name and you're listening to this, man, check them out again. They're still there.
Broad Meadows.
Also, is there a better place for a bunch of chicks? To live?
Proud
Right. And
Like I can picture a Broad Meadows right now. And I'm like,
the reason is they would typically close together
That's what a fucking sheep farm is.
so they could go and walk home together for safety. But you had this fucking creep following them around. So I threw his fucking burrito shell in the garbage. Fuck him.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah,
That burrito supreme was the best one I ever ate.
damn right it was.
A little bit of cheese sauce.
Yeah,
Thank you. They normally charge
that was
30
blue
cents for that.
sauce.
That was Lou's own dressing.
They got rid of the fire sauce, that fucking lava sauce.
Well, that's because
They could've
I
that.
eat ghost peppers. So my jizz is fucking hot.
I got you. See, I thought it was cheap.
Caliente!
That is ridiculous.
That is wonderful. So, like, did you guys do anything like that to a customer at Gooey's? And
No.
I know, like,
No, I actually, I'm one of the exceptions to the rule. I fucking take pride in the food I make. Dude, if you don't take pride in what you do, then you wander aimlessly through fucking life. Just because I hate it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it fucking
Right.
well.
you found another job afterward, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, I've noticed that, like,
Cleveland and rubber.
did they, Cleveland?
Friday specials, big boy.
Oh, shit, son. That work ethic, man, you must be bringing in all them boys.
Oh, boys, girls,
But, like, in there, did you guys get
dogs.
Do you guys get offers for, like, employment and shit? Because, like, I noticed when I worked in fast food, because I was busting my ass so much harder than the people around me. Around here, man, it's not hard to, like, beat out
People used to snipe me when I was working
I had
at
that all the
Gooey's.
time.
Yeah.
All
Not
the
so
time.
much at Panera. I'm a baker. I work the third shift. I'm too weird for them to let me touch customers anymore.
Good. Thank God.
Yeah.
When it takes 20 minutes to take their order because you're stuttering over their bosom, it
So you want that Turkey Sierra Club?
as you
What
are.
about pepperonis to
But you guys tried.
Was
Like,
like
did
some,
people try sniping you guys?
Genoa
Though? Like you guys obviously would have
salami.
stuck out if you guys stuck around that long.
Yeah, it happened a couple of times. So what happened more with me that I was really surprised at was I didn't get sniped so much for job offers. I got a lot more dates from
Mhm.
customers than I ever would have thought I got.
Ooh, smooth.
Kevin was pulling tail at Gooey's.
Hard.
Bartenders, customers,
Is that what they call it,
whoever
Gooey's?
was. There's something about being Kevin Massing that just like fucking makes women wet.
You
I
want to
don't
know what?
it is.
You know what I think it is? It's that I genuinely do not give a fuck.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Sean has given me shit over that all the time where he's like, dude, I don't understand. He's like, you will walk into a bar and not say a word to a chick, and then by the end of the night she'll be talking to you, and you'll take her home, and I'll have to sleep on the couch, and I'll be like, when did you even meet this person? And I think honestly, when I give a shit and I'm actually trying, no, it's not gonna happen.
I
If
love
I
this
don't-
cartoon.
That's my
Later
advice to
Gumball.
all the men in the world. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to get laid more, you have like practice your apathy. It can't be forced.
Yeah.
You have to genuinely not
Be
give a fuck.
apathetic.
Yeah.
I saw this great cartoon. It's The Amazing World of Gumball. And they're asking one of the adults, how do you make a woman disappear? Well, generally, when I start to talk about my feelings,
Yeah.
It sucks because you're so right, though, and I'm sure you guys can relate. Also, forget me. Did any of you guys nail that one bartender? And you all have to know the one I'm talking about.
there was a lot of really hot bartenders.
It was probably Kevin.
I probably.
Did you?
I don't know which one you're talking
You
about.
have. You said her name earlier, Kevin.
There were a lot. No, because I said the name of the one. I was like, no, I'm not talking about who you were thinking.
Oh, okay.
But no, I was telling the story about the time this
What was her
girl
name?
named Katie.
Brittany?
Katie
I don't
got so
know.
drunk I had to walk her home and then go back to work and count her drawer for her because she fell down the stairs. Yeah.
Fucking Katie. Is she the hot one?
No.
Okay, the
Oh,
hot one that
what you
worked there
mean.
when Brian worked there, and that's how I know Kevin is because I knew Brian. And I
But
met
see,
Kevin
Brian
through
worked there for a long time and we had him in and out.
Yeah.
A
Jesus
lot.
Christ.
And
Bartenders
ended
have
up
a
at
higher
the-
turnover
that. Where
rate.
did she end up? Because I saw her at a different Midway, I think. I saw her at a different bar later, and I was like, what? Oh.
We personally, I went through a lot of bartenders
Did you?
in my time there, and I got there late
we went through so many.
Like,
because you shouldn't have had a bar. You
Really?
could either be a bar
Or a
or
restaurant.
a restaurant.
I can see the
The-
vision, though. The
the
restaurant
layout,
should have been
no.
upstairs.
The layout did not appropriately satisfy both.
It didn't.
The layout did not.
Okay, picture
People
this.
came in there, didn't even know we had a bar up.
For the
Yeah.
listeners, okay, picture this, okay? So the restaurant as it existed was a restaurant downstairs, and then upstairs they had a pretty nice bar set up, really. But you had to, like, walk back from where you would eat and back around to basically the entrance to go up the stairs.
Well, there was the two flights of stairs.
Yeah.
There was the one by the entrance and
Oh,
the
that
one by
spiral
the
staircase. But you had to walk through a booth, didn't you, to get to it?
No.
Okay.
No, they
That
had
makes
just
it a little
tables
fuzzy.
randomly there.
Okay.
But
picture this, guys. So if the restaurant part, and you can still have the cooks downstairs, but if the bar was downstairs so people walked straight into the bar and the food was upstairs, would not the drunks that you were already trying to attract made their way upstairs to the food? And the drinkers stay downstairs? Because the atmosphere there was pretty cool.
The kitchen wouldn't have worked upstairs because of the space.
Well, no, keep the kitchen downstairs.
But honestly, it's a failure to plan.
Okay.
So
they should have had it to where you could rent the second floor.
For like parties and shit?
Exactly.
With the bar?
Exactly.
And just use your liquor
because
for that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because most of the people that would come in were after the bars closed, and our liquor license didn't mean fucking dick.
Okay. I got it.
They're not. It's 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. You can't sell liquor anymore in the state of Ohio.
So yeah, anybody who is watching or wants to go back and watch, you guys can check this out. I just put up. I would just share it on the screen once. I'll share it a second time. The commercial we made for Dewey's, and it shows the entire layout of the place, and it lets you see the bar and all that good stuff. You'll get to see Brian here for a second. Oh. That's actually me in the mouse suit for most of that. There's Brian right there in the back. But yeah, so that was you guys kept talking about trying to explain the layout, and then I realized
that's perfect.
That I had something that showed every inch of that place. So.
It's perfect, and that's the thing about the upstairs is on OSU game days. Yeah, throw your fucking bartender up there, open it up for overflow.
I don't know how liquor licenses work because an employee behind a bar isn't that expensive. So if you're going to have the liquor license already, you might as well throw you were tipped a wage, right? So like $5.50 or some bullshit like that.
Mm-hmm.
On top of your overhead, though, like an extra $50 a night. If you're gonna
alcohol,
what are you guys making in
30 and 40 of good nights.
Alcohol costs. What's it called? What am I thinking of? The cost to profit ratio, whatever.
It's
the
kind
cost
of shit
to pour alcohol and buy alcohol versus how much you sell it. And you may not know this. It is ridiculous. You can sell it at 3 times whatever it costs you. So, like, you buy a bottle of booze, it's $20.
Right.
And you're thinking, let's just take it a basic well bottle of vodka, okay? That bottle of vodka, well vodka, is $10, $15 a handle, okay?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably pour, that probably has 50, 60 shots in it.
So the overhead was really high on the food, but not the alcohol.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's why he wanted the bar.
And that's what he failed to understand. Well, maybe he did understand. What we failed to
make
accomplish
a cheaper goddamn sandwich.
Was
exactly.
You make one is the reason you have them both is that one is supposed to sort of prop the other one up.
Yeah, exactly.
You were allowed to, or
you get these people fucking drunk, so they eat this food.
Yeah, and why do you think people can have lunch menus and stuff like that? Like there's a reason that other businesses. You can sit down and you can see the stuff on the menu, and as someone who's run a business before, you might think to yourself, well, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand how they're giving it away this cheaply. But then you realize that later in the night, they're going to be charging $9 a shot for Grey Goose.
Yeah.
And so it's going to level out in the end.
And fucking shot of Hornitos, or Hornado, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's like $15.
Right, and I guarantee you that bottle costs less than $50.
Yeah.
So
make a cheaper fucking sandwich, man.
He should have picked one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to have a bar, put a bar upstairs, downstairs. Put a bar upstairs, downstairs with a kitchen.
Yeah, but if a bar has a kitchen, it needs to have a menu of like 6 to maybe 10 items. But it needs to just be really easy.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like,
I don't
what would have really helped that is having a dumbwaiter and a fucking basic 16-inch grill in the back of the house with a dedicated 1 or 2 people that run food upstairs.
Yeah. I mean, there were a number of different things. At the end of the day, it was a really interesting, shitty job that we had. But when you think about it, we learned. It brought us together. We learned a lot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we know all these things going forward that we've been able to apply in our own business ventures, and when the time comes to run the next thing,
so if there's any takeaway from this,
work at a failing business,
if there's any takeaway, is it's a shitty job, but you're gonna learn everything that you appreciate.
Food service.
in the food service. You're gonna learn what that other, if for some reason you make it, you're gonna learn what that person is going through and appreciate what they're doing. Okay? People don't do that right now.
No.
As an employee in the food service, you're gonna take whatever knowledge and whatever terrible shit you went through in your previous jobs and make sure you don't ever have to deal with that again. So it betters you. It's just like, it's like a girlfriend. If you have a shitty girlfriend, you're not going to find a girlfriend that did something, the same thing that your ex did. If you did, you're just going to go in this vicious circle over and over and over again of despair and depression.
Yeah.
That's why you have to take shit away from it. So GUIs sucked, and my position sucked, your position sucked, Kevin's position sucked, everything sucked. But where are we now?
Well, you know what the sad thing is?
I will say some of the positions that I got myself into while there were quite fun.
Like, exactly. Like the saddest thing about it was I actually had a blast working there for the most part.
I did. When I was there, I enjoyed the people. Yeah.
It was
awesome
the leadership of the business itself.
What's
Didn't
the
know
awesome
what
night
was
that
up.
happened?
Hmm?
Like, what do you guys have an awesome? I know you guys didn't all work together at the same time a lot, but did you guys have like an
You'd be
awesome night that
surprised.
sticks out? Well,
Yeah,
what like
we
night
worked
is
a
there
lot.
any like
A lot of the
night of
same
the
shit.
trio was together?
I mean, a lot.
I was more friends with Kevin than I was friends with Lou.
I don't
Right.
blame you.
And that was, again, it goes back to that precarious position I was in. They made me feel like I couldn't be friends with anyone. I couldn't be friends with anyone because I was friends with them.
Okay.
And I had to, basically, no one would act themselves when I was around.
And to
Which
be
is
fair,
bullshit because I can't help if everyone's like on their best behavior.
So, in your eyes, what was bringing the business down then? Because these guys were on the inside, and then you were more on the outside looking in. Then
lack of employee morale.
Employee morale is huge, and food costs.
food cost was just killing it.
Food costs. That there were so many things he could have done. Kevin was talking to vendors and like presenting ideas, and they were all they kept getting shut down.
Yeah.
And it was this food cost was ridiculous. I wanted to go back and talk about fucking cheese for a second.
Please talk about cheese for a second.
So, and this is our number one cost in that restaurant was the cheese.
I believe it.
And it goes back to what we were saying about food portioning. The owner wanted everyone to use a measuring cup. The issue with that is when it's 3 o'clock and you've got a line of people lined up outside the restaurant to come in and order food, you're not using a fucking cup. You're going to use your fucking hands. What this did was they had their food costs for the sandwich set, which is not the way it should be. It should be the other way around. They had their food costs for the sandwich set. We kept trying to change the portion and how we were portioning to like effectively keep the sandwich in cost.
Right.
When they should have just switched to sliced cheese. We can still order cheese and buck, but we just slice it.
Yeah.
We do like 3 slices for a half sandwich, 6 slices for a full sandwich, something like that. And that's way easier to measure out than
What was the
cheese.
percentage
to
difference?
caveat onto the stoop, you have shredded shit that when you slam a door shut, it shifts around and you're burying your fucking scoops.
Yep.
So you get to a certain point in the night where you're pulling this cheese out and you find your fucking scoop at the bottom because it's heavier than cheese.
Gravity
It's
was so
denser.
fucking weird.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
What I always ran into with the shredded cheese at any restaurant I worked with it was it stuck together. But with sliced cheese, you have those fucking wax paper slices between it.
Exactly.
What was the difference in cost though? Was it?
There wasn't. It was labor. So the food cost
You
didn't
shitting
come
me?
in prep.
Mhm.
I think it would have been the same amount
It was
of
in
prep
waste?
time. It was waste,
Okay.
and it was
Truthfully, I think it would have been
overportioned.
less.
Less.
Because it's a lot more efficient to slice. I used to work in a deli.
Yeah.
It's a lot more efficient to slice the cheese instead of grating it.
You lose a
Cleaning
lot
that
less.
exactly. Because all the shit that gets stuck in the fucking machine
Yeah.
that the egghead owners forgot to factor in.
And it's
How much
slower
cheese
to
are you
shred it.
losing shredding it yourself?
That's where I came in. I can't tell you how many numbers I crunched
Mhm.
trying to figure out what the percentage of loss was just in prepping the cheese.
You know just as well as I do, when you pull that shit out the fucking well,
Yeah.
it's got nothing but fucking grease and fucking metal grindings.
For those of you
in
that
it.
don't know, that's never worked in a food restaurant of any sort where you had to slice or grate cheese, it's not only quicker to slice it because you can run a fucking, it comes in like a tube, almost like a fucking, it looks like a kielbasa but bigger and straight. And you just, if you're shredding it, you have to press it against a shredding edge with a blade running against it. You have to do it a lot slower, and then you have to adjust for length of the shred. But with a slicing edge, you just set that thing to however long you want it, and you can run it as fast as you can move that fucking thing.
You can literally set another block or two of cheese on the arm, set it to fucking auto,
You guys could have done that
and let it just cut itself.
You could, well, if you want to spend that much on the machine, but you can pick up a.
No, I'm serious.
Oh, you guys already had that. You could have done that live.
Yeah.
You could have done that real time while they're making, and then your food costs would have been cut down even more because the shredded, or when you're slicing it, it goes down quicker because there's more surface area exposed. But you could keep that shit basically in its casing and just shred as you're using it.
And better yet, you could have got the butcher paper to already set up the different portions. So all you had to do was reach in. This side of the drawer is this portion. This side of the drawer is that portion. This drawer is the different cheeses.
That's
And
more
for
time.
some reason, well, that's what we're saying. The amount of time though it took to first it came in blocks.
Because you have to portion everything anyway. It's
came in
quick
blocks.
service.
But a fucking architect guy or not an architect, but a builder doesn't want to go in and micromanage those little details.
No, but
Because he doesn't understand those
No,
details.
he did micromanage. He tried to micromanage everything.
He just did it
They don't have the
poorly.
capability. I mean, they have the capability for large scale, little.
Correct.
It seems so medial
That's
to
why I
be
had
like.
to write the training materials.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to break.
Because
it
you
down.
actually did it, as opposed to some dude that just watched on a camera and got drunk.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He didn't even care enough to show up until it was obvious it was failing to him.
Right.
And that's when it was, oh my God, we're in a sinking ship. I got to save my own ass.
Now, there's a whole other piece to this that we haven't
Fair
even
enough.
touched yet.
Please get to it.
So
Yeah, because this is depressing.
yeah, it's getting bad. It's getting bad, and we can change topics.
Fair enough.
But there was a manager before I came in, before Kevin got moved up, who kind of just went crazy
Kind of.
with buying shit and switching vendors and kind of did it behind the owner's back, which just kind of solidified everything.
Okay.
Right.
And it was already going to be bad. It
But just
took a lot
shutting
longer.
off the talk of it because of it is, you can't do it, man. When you have someone as smart as Kevin and as smart as you know the technical aspect of running, for lack of a better term, propaganda.
Yeah.
I love that term for marketing. You know, the original term for marketing, propaganda.
That's what it is.
But, you know, you have the people that actually deal with the vendors.
Yeah, we're trained in mind control.
Right. Don't scratch your nose.
Whatever you do, don't think about a red truck.
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm thinking of a red truck having angry sets
While scratching my nose.
with a hummingbird.
Eat at McDonald's.
I was So,
I'm loving it.
long story short, is we all met through this restaurant. Well, we met outside the restaurant, but we all at one point worked at this restaurant.
Right.
Now, Kevin and I work together. I got Kevin, got him an interview, and he kind of did the rest there. Got him in the door. He's a lot happier now. Lou, you seem a lot happier now.
Oh, I'm not.
You're not?
Panera's terrible.
Oh, you're at Panera?
I will put it this way: I won't ever be satisfied until I get to do things like this for a living. As long as there's somebody else cutting my check, it's not going to be good enough. But yeah,
I'll break it this fucking way to you, buddy.
I'm allotted more time to pursue these things now, and that does make me a lot happier than that former situation.
I'll break it to you this way, buddy. I've been there for almost 5 years now. The first 2 years,
That's dedication.
no, it's stupidity.
Lack of options?
I don't
There's
know.
so many options. That Columbus
Stupidity.
gave you that. No offense.
But I threw out stupidity on my own part. So,
3 times.
yeah. So, you know it's true. And
Rule 3.
the first, well, it's the benefits too. I have benefits and shit, but I know I can find benefits somewhere else. I just got to look harder. It's the trap of getting out of third shift. And the first 2 years I was there, they only gave out 2 raises per market area. There's like 80 fucking bakers in the market. Yeah. I've been there for almost 5 years, and I have yet to break the $12 ceiling.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I saw an ad at a McDonald's I walked into the other day. I can't remember where it was at, but their starting wage was $11.50.
Yeah.
And like the biggest fucking talking point right now is raising the minimum wage. But look at you. They're willing to pay it. Just walk in the fucking door.
That's the thing, though, is most of those McDonald's are owned by other people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a franchise, right? So those owners of the McDonald's can pay whatever they want. They don't have to pay.
I heard corporate paid more, at least at McDonald's, than the owner.
9 times out of 10, that is true with every like corporate and franchise difference.
Yeah.
The corporate will pay more because corporations
have back end.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, I mean, they're taking a percentage out of the franchisee's cut. So the franchisee, that gets passed down to them.
Yeah.
So I can see it from both angles, but I can tell you franchises are always, in almost every aspect, the worst ones to go into of any restaurant you go into.
Hands down.
It's the franchise that's
why
dirty or the food shit.
You can go interview at a McDonald's and then interview at another McDonald's 2 miles away and get $2 less per hour.
Yeah.
It just all depends on what that owner wants to pay you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, location.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Oh, yeah.
Utilization of it, but that's the one fucking like place I haven't worked yet. I've done a pizza joint. I did Taco Bell.
I was a lot happier when we were talking movie conspiracies.
Do you guys have like a fucking like funny ass time that happened at Gooey's? There has to be something that's fucking hilarious, even if you guys weren't together for it.
I don't know, man. I spent so much time just being glad that I wasn't there anymore and just honestly kind of blocking it out.
No, you didn't get late.
It was
one
the
night,
people we
nothing.
worked with that made it fun.
Is what made it good.
But nothing
Not
ever like, went
necessarily
down.
for me, because everyone shit on me. Is all right.
Well, you knew the people.
I like hanging out with Kevin because he's a cool dude. Lou, we had our moments.
But he was in a weird spot. 'Cause
He
was looked at instantly through no fault of his own as the rat. Like it was instantly.
I can see it though.
He was looked at as a plant.
To the audio listener, picture a rat, you will see Bruce. Just close your eyes and think a fucking narc.
Really fat. Think of like Gus from Cinderella. I'm the fat mouse.
Okay.
That is a.
You know, that's actually like I'm closing my eyes
bit.
again, and the images are merging, and it's a smooth transition. So, no,
I was trying to think rat fink.
What?
Oh my god, you guys don't know rat fink? Could you pull up a screenshot of rat fink?
You guys, this is supposed to be fun, and you constantly make me do work. I don't get it.
Hey, I want to
Move those boulders!
I don't understand.
Israelite.
I take enough orders throughout the week. So anyway, well, if I'm gonna look,
Please.
up, can you guys at least keep talking?
So rat fink, it's biker culture, kind of. It's a caricature of this tripped out fucking rat. And it's like, typically they're green, but there's a lot of different versions. I'm looking it up so that way I can show you guys, you know,
Here's
in
one
real time.
So, what is it called?
Rat fink.
Radfink.
Rat finky.
What is it about?
It's a picture. It's a rat.
Okay, it's not a movie.
Yeah.
No.
It's pretty random.
Why
But
is this in your fucking like mental dictionary?
There's a lot.
Because Bruce likes to go nuts.
Okay.
There's a lot of shit in Lou's mental dictionary that we don't even want to go towards.
How's your Faptionary looking?
Huh?
How's your Faptionary?
Faptionary?
I'd have to pull out my my iPad for that.
Oh. Okay. I wondered why they offered those free at Verizon. I really couldn't remember.
Not the iPads, they were tablets.
Oh, were they?
Samsung tablets.
I was just like, no, I don't need more money on my bill. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
tempting.
no,
So-
thanks.
What do we
I'm
want
trying to find good times at Gooey's, but apparently there were no good times at Gooey's.
Yeah, well, I just am to
Just
the
when you
point
guys
where
get
it's like
together.
I feel like we've been talking about Goose for
Way
well
too
over
long.
an hour.
Oh yeah, that's so dead and in the grave.
To where
You literally have like images. You don't even stick to Gooey. So, audio listeners again.
I'm showing a picture of a suicide girl named Gypsy Suicide. You should
But
look her
not
up.
just
She's super
that. He
sexy.
had an iPad ready. He already had a cell phone. I didn't see him bring a bag. He pulls out a fucking tablet, and within 5 seconds of me mentioning that shit, has a fucking image of somebody.
Yeah, Suicide Girl.
Your Fab Dictionary is supposed to be inside your head, not on a tablet you bring with you everywhere.
Why
This is why I don't eat macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, RJ. Yeah, RJ.
Okay, so we have a naked chick on our fucking wall that was
Talk
going
about
to be...
Fabtionary being in the mind.
I've never beat off to that picture that you're talking about, though. There's a picture of a naked
Never
woman on the
beat
wall
off.
here.
To the fucking wall.
I love gingers.
The
Gingers and Jewish chicks are my favorite. I've never beat off to that in my life.
The iconic Pink Floyd poster of the naked women.
Oh, the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what is that? That's the back catalog, I think is what the image is called. If you guys Google the back catalog
Pink Floyd,
you should find it. That's actually one of my favorite posters ever.
It's amazing.
It really is.
I need to hit the walls.
It even includes a ginger in it.
Boom,
it has. It literally. For the bigots we are, we can all appreciate that image. It has one of everything in it. It's got a ginger, a black chick.
No, she's just
an Asian,
black
Puerto Rican
paint.
thing. A blonde. Just look up the image if you're listening to this, but you'll buy the poster. I can almost assure you.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh yeah.
That's funny.
You can find that on the Bad Dinner Guest blog. We'll have a link up there.
Yeah, we're pulling up an image.
We don't have a link up there.
We don't get paid for product placement yet, buddy. Yet being the operative word, we're always looking for people. Contact us at Bad Dinner Guest Twitter.
Have you guys ever had Yoo-Hoo? I love Yoo-Hoo.
So I was driving over here, and I stopped at McDonald's. I'm loving it. And
Jesus
We want to talk about bad marketing ideas.
right.
The Ronald McDonald. How many people in this room have issues with clowns?
I never did.
I didn't either.
No?
I did.
Okay.
As a kid.
So it's 2v2 here, the norms, as I like to call us, me and Lou.
I wouldn't
You guys
go
have
that
clown issues.
far. I'm down with the Wicked Clown. So
Oh, you
It doesn't
oh,
really-
one of those.
yeah, those.
Again,
that's
need a
ouch.
video fucking feed. He just showed what's the name?
Hatchet Man.
That's coming
Hatchet
soon.
Man.
I
From
promise
ICP.
you it's coming soon.
We have the camera. I don't know why we're not using it, but
No, because we don't have the
guys, we need a TriCaster is what we're getting at here.
computer power.
Well, that and just a more appealing setup. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want a camera on me right now in this setup.
What is wrong
We
with the back catalogs
We're
and
all
Led
not on
Zeppelin?
that wall.
We don't
Why
all
can't we
fit
be on that
right
wall?
there. I don't
Who are
wanna
you calling
sit-
fat? Are you calling me
I
fat?
don't want to
Kevin?
sit that
I'm
close
fat.
to you guys.
And I'm kind of
we
sweaty.
could make this like a s'more of large gentlemen to
I
not
sat
so
on
large
that chair
gentlemen.
and I got up and there was butt sweat.
That's why that seat's there for you, man. It's
Yeah.
got that nice mesh, so we can get a nice breeze going under you.
Oh, by the way, I also sat on this.
Actually, it's to get you nice and wet.
That's what it was there for. It was there for
Ready
padding.
for later.
So we have a ghetto setup, and if you want to contribute to our Patreon, it is soon coming, is what we're getting at. The first item on the
With a
list
U.
is some chairs. The second is a back. No, the backdrop's on its way.
I think my living room would be perfect for this type of thing because I have a big wraparound couch. I can just put a camera all the way in the back.
New
all me
studio.
in there. And just
Dude, I love the idea of expanding to different studios and locations and shit. That's that. When me and you first started doing this, I mean, this was supposed to be just people hanging out and talking.
Yeah, this
You know?
it's come together a lot quicker than we thought, but this really has been the intent, is to just get it be an outlet for anybody, not
Right.
just for the
Yeah, I've never
so.
been on a podcast before, so thanks for
That's what-
having me.
Right, you're welcome, man. I'm glad. I hope you come around more. That's
No,
what,
this is what I would like to see in my mind's eye when I came here. I wanted the Potpourri show to be the major voices of the network, and like you guys together in a room, like this is what we need to bring to this fucking network is these voices. I definitely hope
and
this
that
could be.
allows them to spread out, and like for instance, having Sean here would be great. Then we
I actually have
the-
posters I can bring for this room.
I have some as well to put up. But
We're getting maybe I don't know. Again, we'll see how it goes. But I got green screens on their way,
Cool.
so see if that happens.
That,
But either way,
It'd be fun for
we'll
bits.
talk about it later.
Well, yeah.
You know?
we don't have to make the sausage right in front of the people, but again, like what you're saying, I like that.
I like sausage.
What we're going with here
I can
is
tell.
essentially for this show. That's why I hound you, Lou, about trying to be on this every once in a while for like an hour or so.
And I hate the fact that I missed Sucker Radio because I was sick.
yeah, and that
Sucker
one.
Magazine.
Well, I said radio because it was the two of you guys, 60 Gray and them. You know what I mean? Sucker Radio. That's what I called the podcast.
Dude, if we could get them in to do me and Kevin with them every week, that'd be fucking sweet. Not to put fucking Sucker Magazine, who, if you're listening to this now and you didn't listen to it last week, check out Sucker Magazine's interview last week, or go to suckermagazine.com. But no, I was telling Kevin, like, I have a little crush on Sucker Magazine. Like, they were fucking awesome on the
I
show.
had a little crush on Sucker Magazine, and I only listened to like 40 minutes of the podcast so far.
What an asshole.
Dude, right?
How are you on the network and have only listened to 40 fucking minutes? No, I'm just fucking
Yeah,
too busy beating
I
off
give-
them suicide
I
pictures.
give Lou a hard time all the time about
He does. But legitimately, until yesterday, my schedule was I would go into work at 10, get off at like between 3 and 5 in the morning, go home and just fucking crash. And sleep until like 8, 9 o'clock at night. I was sick as fuck, dude.
Oh.
Well, he also likes to pull these smooth moves because, for instance, when it comes to running the blog and stuff and being an editor for Fat Dinner Guests, he'll do this thing because he knows I usually require feedback from at least one of the partners before I'll post a story.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be sitting there and I'll show Lou a story and he'll be like, "Yeah, dude, it's good," and he'll tell me to post it, and then I'll post it. And then I'll ask him about it like a week later, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, man, I still haven't even read that." Like, dude, you bastard! Like, you're an editor on this. You're like that's your responsibility.
That's because of how much I trust you, Kevin. You were literally like one of 2 people in life that I would trust the judgment, dude. If you think it's good, fucking post it.
That's
why I have you edit my shit.
I feel so bad for Kevin because, like, I bring him shit for this show, and then I bring him shit for 60 Grit Radio. And I'm like, "Hey, man, look over this before we do it." And not only that, I know he's got books he needs to fucking review. He's got fucking movies he needs to fucking finish making. Like, this dude is so loaded with production work. It's unreal. I feel so bad for, like, passing so much off to him.
Well, I hope.
But,
Well, it's because my grammar isn't nearly as proficient as yours is.
Well,
So, like, I'm not really the person to go in and I'm the guy that I will braingasm on a fucking piece of paper with words.
You should read his first drafts. It's like a mixture.
Is it like a Jackson Pollock of words?
It's like reading a script and a short story at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like when he writes, like he won't hesitate to write out an action as if it's an action on a script, and then in the next line go back to narrative.
Think
like
pulp
it-
comic
Okay.
with no pictures.
Do you have anything on the Bad Dinner Guest website yet?
I have 2 things. Well,
What's
in
your
addition to twitching, which I'm going to resume. I was sick as fuck, man. I'm going to resume that within the next 48, 78 hours. I want to pick a few different games to get a little bit more than just Fallout vids. I believe I know I have one short story.
Yeah, you
up.
have your initial Alex Jones story is up, and the second story
no
is,
relation to the radio jerk-off personality Alex Jones.
Yeah, but it would be funny if at some point you do one sort of close to him. Is that now what you're handing to Buddy? Is that the new one still with the working title?
Yeah,
Did you come up with?
That's what the character I want to make the novel with.
You changed the title to it. What do you have at work? What's your working title right now?
What did you
I don't
say
even
to
remember.
me?
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
It's going to be a series of short stories based on this character from a novel series I hope to get wrapped up soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. And it's basically what he does post novels. It's him doing his superhero thing. The novel is based on his training of becoming a superhero. And the main character is half Cherokee and half Italian. And I drew on that a little bit. One of his superpowers goes back to an ancient Cherokee legend of a Cherokee medicine man blessing the Cherokee warriors so that way their skin could not be cut with bladed weapons. So he can be shot, you just can't cut him.
Okay.
You know that?
Okay.
I see what you mean about directive and then narrative.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, Lou's are always a very fun edit.
What are you looking at there, Bruce? His notes?
No, it's a short story here.
It's my latest
He's
short
looking at
story.
it's unreleased for now.
That's why I said I know I had the one up, but I'm looking forward to getting this one out.
You need to rework your theirs, and theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's usually that's what I'm there for. Usually a lot for the grammatical stuff. When it comes to these, for instance, the book that I'm editing,
Rapidly scrunching and relaxing his eyes to touch the fine pink mist blood bones amongst other pieces raining down on his face like brain pinata. I was worried about fucking Rico's mind space. I don't want to be around you without other people in the room.
No, the line that I was
The people that
Sorry
bring me
to cut you
best
off.
to
No,
the
you're
Deadpool
good.
movie to hanging out with me.
where
So
he said Smoking Fox reaches into his briefcase and pulls out something. Like that's a directive and could easily be said with Smoking Fox reaches into his briefcase instead of like gingerly reaches into his briefcase and has a face of emotion of some sort. Like,
right.
So you're going more literary, whereas his is more script worthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's both.
Okay.
It's both.
I
It would be
liked it like that. That
it
was
would be
enough for
really
me.
good for like a graphic artist to read that.
Yeah.
Write it all out and draw it and everything.
That's
It's very-
like I want to eventually write for a comic book. I would love to write for a comic book.
So my issue when it comes to reading is I would rather have you just tell me what I'm supposed to be seeing and not exactly what it fucking looks like. Let my imagination do that. So I've never read The Lord of the Rings.
Neither have I.
I have tried. But when I started reading that first book, the first Lord of the Rings book, and I have 3 pages of this description of this fucking tree that Frodo is sitting under,
Yeah.
or Bilbo Baggins is sitting under, I'm like, I can't read it anymore. Like, just tell me it's a fucking tree. It's really
I know what
big,
trees
it's
look
really
like.
old. Yeah, I know what trees look like. I can visualize that. I don't need you to tell me that the knobs on the tree look like faces. Like, I don't need that. Just like, tell me it's a face tree or something. It's so,
Right.
Let my
it's
mind
so
fill in the
descriptive.
blanks a little bit.
Yeah, it's so descriptive, you know?
Were you going somewhere with that? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's one of the reasons why I can't read Lord
It
of
was
the
so
Rings.
dry.
I can't
If there's
read it.
is there a movie you've seen that you like your mind when you were reading the book, you described it a certain way when the movie portrayed it, you were just like, fuck, that's not how I saw it at all. I can't connect with this.
Opposite, Harry Potter. When the Harry Potter movie came out, albeit there are bits that are in the book that aren't in the movie, obviously, but Harry Potter, that whole world was, I thought, portrayed perfectly in the movie because it was like what I saw and you know they have art in the Harry Potter books at the beginning of each chapter.
No,
so
I've
you
never
can
read
kind
them.
of
I never
get-
read a Harry
You
Potter
never
book.
read them?
Fuck
I never got
don't
into
wanna
it.
touch your hands for fist bump.
There are at the beginning of each chapter.
So I
of
touch
the
your
Harry
knee.
Potter books. There's a little piece of art
Okay.
of what Harry looks like or whatever. It's just that was enough for me to visualize everything I needed to visualize. You know.
Well, and that
It gives
That
you
is
the
so
setting and
beautiful.
everything.
because that harkens back to a time when literature used to instill that in almost every novel. You know, that the beautiful drawings and artwork that people would do for these novels. And that's why old books fetch so much fucking money these days.
I mean, we can even go so far as back as to Dante's Inferno. You know, they have artwork there of Dante's Inferno of the whole
Can you pull some of that up? Because
the
I
whole
haven't
journey.
seen
the
it.
levels of hell are
Yeah.
all
Dante's
drawn
Inferno
out there.
artwork.
You know.
Oh yeah.
And that I just need that one piece of artwork to help me set where the book is, you know?
Or just if you're not going to do images, I always hark back to Aragon because that is my favorite fantasy novel
That's
ever.
a good book.
But they set enough of the setting in the beginning of it that the rest of it, you had enough of an image of the rest of it. The movie, they fucked it up so... Did you watch the movie?
I saw it.
How fucking hard... Because they tried to scrunch it to a fucking hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You can't do that
That's
with that.
one of those ones where the budget probably didn't allow a longer movie.
I
But the
wish
story could have.
that
When
kid made
did it
so
come
much
out?
money. I don't know, but
I
that
want to
kid
say
made
early 2000s.
so fucking...
Maybe like
I'll just look it up
That-
right now.
That might have been within the bubble before they were like, okay, this book has this X amount of following. We need to plan sequels.
Yeah. Well,
there was a chance to have sequels. The problem is that they scrunched the of the book. They had
Bless
sequels. But of that, they did the first book in the series, and they scrunched from beginning to end to that hour and 20 instead of from beginning to halfway through. If they were thinking in a sequel mindset for the first movie, they wouldn't have included the ending in there. Apparently, back in 2008, they had a trailer for the second one, but I'm trying to find the date on the first one.
But that just goes back to what we were talking about before. Just the length of the movie doesn't always fit the script, and the budget of the movie doesn't always fit the length of the movie.
That and God knows what hit the cutting floor.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Let's
talk about. We can bring up Godfather, for example. That script. I don't think it was ever a book. That was specifically a movie script.
Godfather was a book.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mario Pucci.
Okay.
It was the 3 acts of the book, and it's the established family and the new regime takeover with Michael Corleone. And the second one, I loved the second one because it showed the immigration process of the 40s, and where the original name of these people was Andolini from Sicily. I actually have Andolini blood, so I mean that's like a great grandmother's maiden name, Andolini. This boy comes to Ellis Island, test positive for TB. Andolini's too Han. You're from Corleone. You're Corleone.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. Marlon Brando, of course, the patriarch, played by, oh God, I should be fucking ashamed for myself.
Did you say Marlon Brando was played by?
Yeah, Marlon Brando is the actor.
Yeah. Well, that, and also I completely fucking spaced on Robert De Niro's fucking name, because he played the young patriarch, Corleone. I don't remember his first name. Vito Corleone was the father.
And it's interesting because the people that came over through Ellis Island didn't necessarily speak any English, or if they spoke English, they didn't know how to spell it. So you're going to see a lot of families that came over that date back to families, overseas and have a different spelling. So, for example, McPherson, my namesake, can be spelled with an A or a C at the beginning. McPherson, McIntosh. Those names all got confuzzled when they came over to the United States because
Dysleximified.
they didn't necessarily know how to spell it, so most of it was phonetic, or they would tell the person.
They Americanized it.
Yeah.
And people on Ellis Island who are writing all the names down, and they're like, "How do you spell that?" And they're like, "I don't know. I don't speak English."
The epitome of the average white person of the 40s did not know how to listen to people's accents and shit. I mean, that's, we're coming off the heels of a war that we were very much isolationist before. Very much isolationist before.
So they resold us on war. Well, they didn't even have to sell us because we had a fucking conscription army.
Who said that the Pearl Harbor wasn't part of the cell? Wait. Oh, that's for the conspiracy talk later. Sorry.
That's not a conspiracy at this point. That's like declassified. If someone tells me to put a tinfoil hat on that one, I'll probably just slap them. Like, dude, this.
And then show them the shit Smedley Butler had to say.
Yeah, it's like, you want to tell me the Gulf of Tonkin is a conspiracy theory too, you fuckwad, because that's been declassified. Him talking about it days before. Hey, this is what we're going to do, and then we'll get into the war. So that one, yeah. I had to just throw that little barb in there.
Definitely.
Conspiracy theory is a term that gets tossed around now just to belittle people like you and I that do their own research. So they can say, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. And I was like, no, man, actually.
AKA people who think for themselves.
Actually, this has been declassified, and this has been shown. You have access to this information should you choose to watch anything other than what bathing suit Kim Kardashian.
Should you choose to exercise the freedoms your rights allegedly give you?
Yeah, allegedly.
They've slowly stripped.
Remember, they're not rights. If they can be taken away, then they're just privileges.
I fucking hate it so fucking much. So, like, these military guys will get on their fucking Facebook and they'll post shit about when they see these Black Lives Matter shootings and all the movements, that violence isn't the fucking answer. When you are the military, you are the fucking wing of violence that keeps everything in fucking check. You are proof that fucking violence is the only fucking vote that counts. Like, how are you going to get on your fucking Facebook and post that violence doesn't matter and at the same time have a fucking M4 in your hand paid for by the taxpayer and they don't even have a fucking choice in it?
I have a
You're the
counterpoint to
biggest
that.
fucking hypocrite in the world. Go on with your counterpoint. It just pisses me off so fucking much. I'm sorry.
Who's better than a stormtrooper who was forced to kill innocent people to espouse the evils of this senseless violence?
Who?
That's just like I just said it.
What?
Who's better than, you know, these military people we send overseas that come back? Like, dude, this shit is fucked.
Oh yeah, that's a good count.
No doubt.
Who
There's
better
not-
to say the violence isn't than someone who actually had to?
Thank God the military is talking about it more than the fucking police are, though. The Army will at least come out and say, look at all this fucking spending. Look at the amount of money we're spending on, instead of buying new fucking ink for our printers, we just buy new printers and then burn them.
Well, and that's because
Like-
the police are all too happy to get a fucking tank to
That
run over
thin blue
citizens
line.
with.
That fucking thin blue line that you're not allowed to fucking cross.
That brings up another point: is people who are in these authoritative positions, like policemen, who don't have adequate training, who don't get mentally tested before they're given a sidearm, who are thrown into things and not adequately prepared when our military goes through boot camp and training and situations and, you know, how to deal with people. You know,
Here's the thing. We're not Fallujah. You don't need that fucking training. You're not supposed to be an invading force.
Right.
You're supposed to be there to help the people.
Right.
The military gets all that training because they're a fucking invading force.
Well, I will throw this argument out there.
Please do.
The thing that I've always said is, why does it take a 7-year degree to practice the law, but 6 months training to enforce it?
Because the laws aren't supposed to be that difficult. It's so
Okay,
convoluted.
but they are that difficult. You can't if
Yeah,
they're crazy and nuts, but they are that
The
difficult.
Yeah.
police are there to protect the Constitution, though. It's not that convoluted. That's their supposed job.
You go to
But now
law
they're the
school.
fucking tax arm of the fucking police wing of the fucking government.
You go to law school to learn how to subvert the law, which
Or
is why
if you
you
wanna be a
have people like
prosecutor,
Hillary
force
Clinton
it.
and Janet Reno attempting to take away people's rights.
Yeah,
And you can equally say that on the right, where people are trying to, abortion's bad, so if we outlaw it won't happen. Are we that far removed from back alley abortions and women going at themselves with coat hangers to not remember that shit?
I mean, no,
Oh, I
we're
don't
not even
remember
a
it.
generation really removed from it.
Exactly.
Like, our grandparents lived through that time and stuff like that, so I would think so.
How long has abortion, was there ever a time that full-on abortion was outlawed in America?
Yeah, back
Long
in
time.
the day, just like marriage was outlawed or getting divorced was outlawed at one point. You know, it was.
But
it goes
I don't
back
think
to what we
divorce
were
was
talking-
outlawed. I think it was outlawed within the church, but not by law.
Right. It goes back to what we were talking about before. Times have changed from what the Constitution was when it was first written.
Yeah.
If that was in place today without any amendments in how it was originally written, can you imagine the riots that would happen?
No.
So
because
there are laws against sodomy between consenting adults.
those are state laws. The Constitution doesn't involve that. The only times
Sure.
that we have regressed due to constitutional law is when they've amended it. So they amended it to outlaw fucking prohibition, and that's where we saw regression. When they changed it to make sure people that should have already been included within those rules, women's vote, black vote, that kind of thing there, when they've amended it for personal liberty, we've seen a complete progression of society. But when they outlaw shit and they reduce the personal liberty aspect of it, we see the regression. And we see that with the police, and that's the law they're supposed to be upholding. And now, I mean, they don't even do that because you have fucking DUI checkpoints and shit. But when they were, that's the only time we saw fucking conflict with them.
I think essentially you guys aren't necessarily even at odds when it comes to this discussion. All I think Bruce was saying is that, yeah, if you take the verbatim Constitution with only its 10 amendments and apply it to now, then yeah, it would be a completely different beast than what it
Right.
is. Because we do have to keep in mind that a lot of those things were added. Like, imagine if we just took it as it was back then, women wouldn't be voting right
No.
now.
Well, they
let
should have
alone
been
running.
under the
And
original Constitution.
There are people that are arguing.
No. Back in the day, it was common
I thought that was state law.
No, back in the day, it was common for women to not even have a say in their own household.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I thought that was state law holding that not
we have
constitutional.
progressed. So when you're talking about the Constitution, you have to also keep in mind of this, the civility and progression of civil rights as it's been. So, we have these amendments to the Constitution. They're not necessarily always right, but you can't base it on how it was originally written. When people are talking about the right to bear arms, there was militias. We didn't have army bearers.
That is not what I was saying, though. There is a comma there for a reason. There is a
People
comment.
get into hour-long fights over that.
Yeah, there is a comment under the Second Amendment for a reason. And there was guns that could shoot a lot faster than a muzzle loader at the time, and there was cannons that could kill even fucking more at a time.
And there were cannons that shot bullets faster than a muzzle.
Exactly. But not only that, you could shoot a fucking cannon that had an exploding round, and that wasn't banned under the Constitution. You could kill multitudes of people.
Going back to the women's issue, though, do you know the origin of the rule of thumb?
Yeah, that was you couldn't beat your fucking wife.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, state law, not constitutional law.
Yep. Boondock Saints shout out, because that's the only reason most of us know this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
They were second-class citizens, seen, not heard.
Under state law, not under. And again, what I'm getting at is the police are there to uphold the Constitution, not state law.
This isn't
The state
exactly
law.
talking about
But
law.
when state law infringes upon the right of rights.
Yeah, and that's what the
what we're talking
Constitution.
about.
All these states were supposed to sign on to this, and if they went against it, then there would be consequences.
Right.
They got around it because of things like
subverting the law.
Exactly.
Let's look at it this way. So I want to jump in here real quick, and this isn't necessarily an argument so much as it is just a thinking spot. So if you look at the documents verbatim discussing the terms of the president in our Constitution, they specifically use the word he, and they use it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to take that verbatim, literal interpretation of the Constitution, which some people have, and some people are basing that for their argument on why Hillary shouldn't even be in the conversation anyway, because they are arguing that she doesn't have the right as a woman to even do it.
I heard that argument.
There are those constitutional purists
Really?
that far to where they're saying, look, if you want to break down the Second Amendment based on a comma, if you want to take it that literally, then do you not have to then apply it equally and literally across the board?
The amendment that allows women to vote says dick about women holding public office.
Yeah. It's just sort of been assumed that 1 and 2 were the same. Again, I am not one of those constitutional originalists that doesn't agree that women can run for office, but I'm saying there is that argument being made out there.
Right. I think it's.
Is there anywhere in the Constitution that says that a woman can't hold office, though?
No. But that's the other side of the argument.
But there's
I'm
also,
not saying I'm for.
At the time that this was written, you have a bunch of slave-owning white men claiming all men are created equal. So it's like.
I think that's the only flaw in it. Was there something in the Constitution that made a black man like 3/5 of it? Yeah.
There was the 3/5 clause.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it, a lot of the Civil War had to do with that. Trying to get back the what they were seeing as disproportionality of state representation in Congress and Senate, because the 3/5 law was a slave counted as 3/5 of a person. So every 2 slaves was 6/6. So that was 1 more person counted as a delegate. Every 2 slaves practically was 1 more delegate. Towards 1 more delegate count.
Okay, yeah, I brought it up. You might be able to. If you just Wikipedia the 3/5 compromise, it was a compromise made between the North and the South over exactly what Lou was saying, over the amount of people to votes that the state got. So, yeah, that's definitely a whole.
And that pertains to the Electoral College, as well as to the Senate and Congress floors.
Exactly. That makes sense. I've never once claimed to be a constitutionalist, but I thought it was a pretty good foundation, but that's a whole and a half.
Would it be completely off the wall if we just stripped the Constitution, got rid of it, and wrote a new one?
But if you did that today, can you imagine how convoluted it would be? When this was written, there wasn't that fucking many business interests involved. These were fucking rebels. Everybody hated these guys.
Well,
I mean, you had some fucking guys.
Caveat on that: these business interests at that time weren't considered fucking people with rights either. as they are in this.
Well, there were
fucking
people
day
that
and age.
ran the businesses.
No, I mean business entities and corporations weren't considered people with rights. They were just businesses.
Exactly. You're talking about super PACs, essentially.
Yeah.
Which we should get into that on Six Secret Radio sometime.
I would love to
super
do a
PACs, 'cause
conversation
I'm totally
about
pro
that.
super PAC. But anyway, yeah, there wasn't the business interest in there to like fuck with shit so much. But now you have that, so you're gonna have things like the EPA built into it because people are so fucking spoon fed that they need this shit. You have people that were completely
We have the EPA
anti-state.
doing shit like one of the worst man-caused disasters in history, flooding. What was it? One of the Colorado rivers with toxic
But we've
mine
been
minerals.
so fucking spoon fed. We need organizations like that. You're going to have these kind of government protections built in that weren't there before.
Are they
I
not
come-
in there now?
Well, with property rights, they should be. So with property rights, you shouldn't be able to fucking like pollute your neighbor's land.
What I'm saying is,
But they've convoluted it.
think tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a group of like-minded
Smartest and
individuals,
brightest.
the smartest and brightest.
But who do you
rewrite
consider the
fucking
smartest and brightest?
Constitution based on civil rights, based on everything that we've progressed to this far. There's so much language in law, in national law, in state law.
You guys
local
really
law.
should listen to 60 Grit Radio because we talk about how simple it is. You just need a simple setup of property rights and non-aggression. You don't aggress against somebody and people can own property. And if you have that, it's pretty simple to enforce everything else. You have contract laws, so people sign and make agreements. But you don't have all these fucking little fucking fingers in there that all they're there for is to draw money out of the system. The laws that can be completely simplified with a decent court structure and some simple fucking, you don't go against somebody else's property and you don't fucking aggress against them. How much more difficult do you need a constitution to be
Here's,
other than you can't hit me, I can't hit you, and also if I make something, I own it?
as with everything, the one thing that makes this whole thing fall apart is bad people.
Well, yeah, that's why. Like
That's why communism is perfect on paper.
Exactly. I was just about to say it.
Sorry.
In theory, there is not a damn thing wrong with communism.
No, I was almost a communist.
What ruins communism is the people that get involved.
Mhm.
Is essentially just like our system or any other system. It's a class system
It is.
where when the people in power are going to take care of themselves, and then the rest of you will get to have a group share of what's left over.
Little Animal
That's-
Farm.
Exactly. Animal Farm. Dude, I didn't necessarily understand Animal Farm when I read it as a 15-year-old. I fucking get it now.
Oh yeah.
Or the more I live the life, the more Orwell seems to speak to me, where I'm just like we were talking about earlier. If I hadn't read
Orwell's
so
more
much
of a prophet than some
Orwell,
of the Bibles.
or if I hadn't seen movies like V for Vendetta, like that's the other thing. I feel like there are a lot of artists out there that are trying to tell us something. They've been trying to tell us for a really long
Well, that's
time.
how your outlets
Philip
come.
K. Dix and yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that I like about blanking on the fucker's name, Clyde Lewis.
Mm.
He lived
Yeah,
through this
mind
shit
control.
in Argentina with the I don't remember the papers that came out, but that whole fucking revolution, he lived through it. And he was like, the first thing that goes, they take out the dissidents, the artists, the writers, all of that. So people don't,
Free thinkers.
exactly.
And that would be my problem. If to go back to your original question and issue raised, like if we just tried to scrap and rewrite the Constitution right now, my problem that I think would happen is a lot of people would lose out on their freedoms under the guise of protecting said freedoms. We've had this discussion on 60 Grit before. The idea of telling a business owner that they must serve their product, like telling somebody that owns a cake shop that they have to make a cake for a gay person's wedding, even if it goes against their beliefs. Okay, so on the gay person's side,
Is that what you're saying? That's government overreaching?
to me it is.
Yeah,
Because to
People
me-
want to sacrifice
but
those
people
rights.
want to give that up because of their misguided perception. Because what you see and what you think is, well,
You're
they should-
enabling bigotism.
Yeah, they shouldn't have the right to tell them, you can't have your cake here. But aren't you both asking for the same freedom? If you step back objectively, isn't the shop owner asking for the same freedom that the gay couple is asking for? All I'm
Essentially.
asking is you keep out of my fucking business and let me do what I want to do.
Exactly.
There's a million other places you go buy a cake. We've talked about it before. Why would
My
you want
argument-
somebody that hates you to make your cake
Yeah,
anyway?
that's exactly my argument. Why are you going to spend your hard-earned money on a cake that generally cost $100 to $300 fucking dollars.
For a bigot to make it, and you know they're going to come at it just like that guy with the fucking mashed potatoes.
Right!
And that's why your boy, RJ, Austin Peterson, who I do kind of like, he said it the best to me, when did it become the government's job to make us better people? That's not the point. We're not supposed to lay out all these guides and codes and regulations for us to be good students about. It's supposed to be there to protect us for the rights that we wanted
So,
to have.
to simplify it, the government is just religion without a deity.
No doubt. That should be the Bad Dinner Guest logo, really. But we want to get some liberals on here. But no,
It's
like,
so true.
but what do our peers want? They want help. They want people to fucking give them safe spaces, and fucking they don't want a business to put in a fucking third bathroom. They want the government to force them to. They want the fucking NSA. Look at our peers don't want the NSA, but look at what your parents and your grandparents want. We've fucking been bred to want this shit.
Right.
So you rebuild the Constitution now. Tell me what the voters going to want. Look at who has gotten to the fucking center stage of our elections. It's the biggest statist of all time versus the biggest statist of all time versus a third party, surprise, also a huge fucking statist. Like, what? You really want these people to rewrite our Constitution?
No, that's why I said
Well,
yeah.
think tank.
Right, exactly.
That would be the people in the think
Okay.
tank.
I'll tell you this. He said smartest and brightest. And the fact that we literally hire assholes. We elect an aristocracy to fucking govern us. These people made it legal for themselves to take the information from the FTC and insider trade. So these cocksuckers are pulling government benefits on a federal level, making six figures on a government level, in addition to raping on the fucking Wall Street. Why do you think the government doesn't want to reform Wall Street? Because it's their fucking bank.
You know when I knew fucking Bernie Sanders was a fucking sellout?
When he kissed Hillary Clinton's fucking clit?
Yeah, but he did that a lot earlier than what people recognize. He dropped out of the fucking audit the Fed. And that's when you know, as soon as he's like, nope, not auditing the Fed, I'm not in on this, that's when you know he's riding on corporate interest.
Exactly.
Or the Democratic Party interest, which is corporate interest.
How about how the DNC has all of these mouthpieces running about the evils of the banking industry from the Wells Fargo... Hear me out. From the Wells Fargo arena.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
You about to rap?
Isn't that one of the places that Hillary talked to? It's funny how evidence comes out of primary election rigging, and then the DNC's at a bank fucking stadium.
Did she ever give any like speeches at the Wells Fargo? The ones that she won't release?
She talked to a lot of banks.
Yeah.
And so, that's the big giveaway with him, that he wasn't legit. And we may have been alone on that island for quite some time on the whole Bernie. At least I was on Bernie as a shill for a while.
Yeah.
I never trusted the man for a second. We had numerous conversations about me saying my biggest fear coming from this election was a Bernie Sanders win.
Yeah, especially when you consider the fact that he was talking about going further with executive orders.
Yeah, he wanted just...
Hillary Clinton's talking about the same shit, though.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember if it's minimum wage or healthcare or what the fuck she was talking about, but she's like...
We all have our Guy Fawkes masks.
We should.
I lost mine. I'll have to get one. I will also just take a moment to say I don't fucking trust Anonymous either. Anybody could be putting that mask on.
Exactly. That's so true.
Too.
Great Coast to Coast Friday night. They had an Anonymous member.
No, you're too small.
I know.
And do you want to know why they used the Guy Fawkes mask?
Because of V for Vendetta?
Nope. That was one of the reasons that before they did the first Million Mask March, they were like, well, fuck, what masks are people going to wear? And the guy, because it was, I can't remember his name, but it was like Mike Gregory, something like that. I don't remember. And he was saying, he was in the room, and it was like half the group was figuring out a hack, and the other half went off to figure out what face mask they were going to wear. And he said it came down to a list, and they threw the Guy Fawkes mask on there because V for Vendetta, the subculture of hacking. Boom, So you had that as kind of a joke, and they were like, well, fuck. If we're having all of these different cities worldwide do this, we need a mask that people can go out and drop like $5 and buy it.
Yep.
And that's
readily available.
Yeah, and they literally they called from like Tokyo to fucking LA. Do you guys have Guy Fawkes masks? Yeah, we have tons of them because Warner Brothers marketed the fuck out of those masks.
Yep.
So yeah, I thought that was one of the really interesting stories from that.
Yeah, I did not know that little side part about it. That is interesting.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of like how my life has been. I kind of just say something in a joking manner, and then it turns out to be like a little tidbit of wisdom that someone took and ran with.
Right.
Exactly. And so when it comes to this, though, the unfortunate thing is I don't think a lot of people even know who Guy Fawkes is.
Nope.
They know what they've been told about that movie. That whole movement had a long following. That used to be a holiday for a long time.
Used to be. They still do it.
Well, it used to be, and then it was banned by a government. It was banned. It was basically the whole thing was over religious freedoms, and it was
Catholics versus the Protestants.
Yep, exactly. And it was a.
That's why we're red on Irish Day.
And he actually failed in his attempts. He was made an example of. And there were thousands of people watched him be hung. And all that stuff, and I wish that this mask could have had the effect of educating the public a little bit, rather than just being like, oh, remember that cool quote where he just says all those V words and he's like vociferate. And it's just
remember.
It waters down the message so hard.
And even though he says that, nobody fucking has any idea what that's about. They just like to post it on Facebook. Remember, because I saw this movie
about the government murdering
ago.
people.
Yeah.
And
oh man, I love that movie. It's so 1984. It makes my balls tingle.
I think we need to start building a bunker.
Start.
What are you talking about? I
would like to be included in your bunker.
You think there aren't two people in this room with go bags in the trunk of their car?
Just saying, there's going to be one point in time, and I feel like in the near future where shit is just going to explode.
Yeah.
Shit is just going to explode. But all the same,
especially with Buchanan in office.
I conflict with myself all the time because I feel like shit's going to explode. And at the same time, I'm like, the system is set up so that it can't explode.
Yeah.
Because people will lose a bunch of money if it does explode.
Because that's where the goddamn fear hinges.
Yep.
We are so far removed from sucking dick for water in Africa to this.
Your experience in Africa was a lot different than mine.
to the fucking quality of life we have now, that I fair to wager that more than 9/10 of the population could not survive in the wilderness on their own.
Well, that's probably a fair wager. I won't take you up on that. But I don't think we're going to end up there, though, because even if government's removed, business is still going to be there.
Well, no. I cringe every time someone tells me that they don't know how to change a tire. I'm like, how do you get out of bed in the morning and put your fucking shoes on?
It's because they've never been forced to just try and learn something on their own, because they're used to being spoon-fed shit.
Exactly.
And that's why your fucking training programs are 2 weeks instead of 2 days.
When I'm in my nursing home, heaven forbid my children put me up in a nice place. And the generation that comes after us finally gets into a place of power. I fear for what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because the movie Idiocracy just pops into my head. You know, I feel like that was a foretelling by a free thinker of what's going to happen.
I know somebody who is so enamored with the spoon-fed knowledge they get that they literally said that the perfect form of communism is no government.
Yep.
Right. Like, you realize those are two, like, completely opposite things, right? That's anarchy, and communism is government control.
Yeah.
You know, they might not on the socialist level do it to where it's social issues being controlled, but it's how the currency's controlled. And capitalism is how our currency is controlled.
And you look at how our currency operated before there was central control, or before it was outlawed to have other currencies.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot more solid.
Treasury Department.
Well, even I don't think it was outlawed at the time.
The Treasury Department
when it was made.
most presidents who ate a
But
bullet fought against.
Eventually, if it wasn't at the same time, they eventually outlawed competing currencies, and that's how they took control of it with the central bank. Is because you're not allowed to have.
Well, in the gold standard.
Well, yeah, eventually went to taking away the gold standard entirely, which means that the government can now speculate on what your dollar is worth, which is even further removed from the original process, which it was these banks had this much money and they would issue notes against it, based on property and that kind of thing there, what your services rendered, that kind of thing. But now you have a central currency based on speculation, and it's
ridiculous.
Yeah, whenever we all figure out that it's based on speculation and at the same time see shit hitting the fan, it's going to plummet. And that's what happened with the housing market, as everybody realized.
You know, it's funny that you bring up the housing market. People have literally fought back against the banks foreclosing because of the fact that no money actually changed hands.
I've heard about that.
Yep. Yeah, we've talked. There was a case in
several cases.
I believe the one that specifically that I looked at was in Minnesota, where a man actually countersued because his argument was that he put up physical property, and it was because of the loophole in the system, which basically had didn't. Yeah. So it's something that people can fight and pay attention to, but a lot of people, they don't understand these things, and it's almost
which is why lawyers write circles and words.
Right. I was right where I was going with that. I was like, there's a reason. No, that's okay. There's a reason that contracts are worded the way that they are. There's a reason that
proprietary.
That's why I wrote that damn short story, that coming to terms, because there's a reason that your terms and conditions are written. They're written so that you won't read them. Yeah. So that way, at a certain point in time, whatever that they want to get through, like whether it be mining your information for an internet app, or then
I was literally thinking about like playfully swatting at RJ's phone and be like, "Stop it, Pokemon Go!
Stop it! Read your release forms." No, but that's the thing, that it's what's to stop you. That's why I put that sort of freaking cautionary tale out there. Was what's to say? Okay, it's not like that now, but who's to say that someday you're playing some battle, you're playing Mobile Strike, and who's to say that you did unknowingly you accepted the terms and conditions, and the next thing you know, maybe you're actually maybe that simulation is actually a real life simulation, and you agreed to bomb said country, or you agreed, like as case in point with the story, you agree to give up your assets should this made up scenario come true, or whatever. Right. A lot of companies, most companies aren't doing that to you, but there's got to be a reason that they're all worded in a way that would make even a lawyer.
I think it's mainly to keep them from getting sued, though. I don't think it's so they can. I mean, they want to sell your data, but we all know that already. I think most of that funny wording is to protect them from any form of being sued.
Well, a lot of it is cover your ass on shit.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sue us if your dumb ass is throwing Pokeballs at Pikachu, driving 80 miles an hour down fucking I-71.
Everybody would click yes if Facebook was like, hey, we're going to sell your information. You cool? Everybody still wants the product. They could make it that simple, and most of us would still fucking use it.
They don't. So why do they go through all that extra effort?
To protect them from lawsuits, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying that
to get you used to the idea.
Simple dialogue would still protect you. I'm saying the same thing Lou's saying.
I don't know.
It's conditioning. It's conditioning you to not pay any attention to it, because you do have to be specific for certain things, but there are times like where it doesn't take 3 paragraphs to describe, and the way where they'll in the beginning they'll say, from henceforth going forward, party A will be referred to as this, and party B will be referred to as this, but then they never remind you of that, and to where it's like. If you don't read it all, and you don't read it all in order, you can get
lawsuits are won in the fucking fine print, though.
Oh yeah,
that's the issue, and that's what they're trying to protect themselves from. Is because the English language is so open to dictation. Like they were running into shit where because somebody said they didn't recognize themselves as that.
Right. Yeah.
Like they were getting sued for it. So you have to spell every fucking word out and then take care of all. Have you read through one of these agreements? I read through like 2 pages of one of these agreements, and it's all defining the words they're using for most of it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's there to fuck you, though, is what I'm getting at.
It's like Buddy was saying with the J.R. Tolkien.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's being done right now. What I'm saying is it sets a precedent that allows it to be possible in the future, because when you go years and years and years of never, ever reading your terms of conditions and nothing bad ever happening from that,
Yeah.
It allows it to be within the realm of
You
possibility
set up
for
the
your future.
standard of people glossing over it and that becoming the norm.
And that's sort of
Brain jelly.
That idea is sort of what we'll be talking about here in a couple of hours on Bad Dinner Guest tonight, is the idea of these things that happen to us. They don't just happen overnight.
No.
They take 20 to 30 years, and it takes one piece of legislation turning into the next piece of legislation. For instance, Joe Biden's Omnibus Act, which was the precursor to the Patriot Act, which stalled on the floor forever because we wanted nothing to do with it. And then, especially after Ruby Ridge and Waco, at a time when Americans didn't trust their government, but then the Oklahoma City bombing happens.
Yep.
And the omnibus gets a name change. It gets changed to the Anti-Terrorism and Execution Act.
Yep.
And it's passed a year later with the Oklahoma bombing being cited as its reasoning.
Yep.
And so now you fast forward then to 9/11, where is another major catastrophic event in which the Patriot Act comes and
renewed it.
So it renewed
adding more clauses.
taking away the sunset clause. And so what happens is, it wasn't that 9/11 is what started you losing your rights. It happened 10 years before. It happened 6 years before that, even 10 years before that.
Son, that's been a fight that since we've ever christened the Constitution.
Exactly, but people, they're so focused on right here, right now.
It's just taken 200 years to get to this fucking point.
Tonight on your guys' podcast, do you guys get into at all, like, Obama's newest legislation?
Not
newest, but his
necessarily.
legislation that anybody can be held indefinitely, but he's not going to use it if they're called terrorists.
Right.
So,
Well,
like,
they
part of
already
the
are,
progression, you
but
can see it. What is that
that's funny.
podcast called again, Lou?
Bad Dinner Guest.
Right. That's where we got our
I'm looking
fucking
forward-
network title from.
To rehash what you were saying earlier about the religion of politics, I'm looking forward to our future one, the religion of political purity.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one
And
of
how that got us to the two-party system, kind of?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope I can sit in for that one. If not, I'm going to be watching
down.
live.
That's because it's like you look at all these people that agree with the Democratic thing, but when they actually start to read it, they're like, whoa, that's odd. And you can even go as far, the Republican side is the other side of the coin.
Right.
believe in government God.
And
Yeah.
then you see Gary
God is
Johnson.
watching.
He's just the same side of both coins.
No, he's
Bruce.
They
Republican.
consume.
Do you got anything coming up with your Blues Brothers shit?
No, I got
Not to
nothing,
be-
man. I wanted to kind of give like a quick recap of what we talked about today.
Dude, we talked about fucking everything.
I know.
That's a beautiful
One,
thing about Bremen
watch the
Circuses.
Blues Brothers if you haven't seen it. It's a good flick.
Oh, you should be ashamed of yourself if you haven't fucking seen that.
2, watch Willy Wonka. It's a good flick. 3, what's his name?
Rico.
Rico has a fucked up head.
Not just his face, but his brain space, just to clarify.
Brain space.
The gray matters.
Number 4, restauranting is hard.
Yes, yes. Working sucks.
Number 5, Illuminati.
Illuminati's number
Kevin,
5.
what do you got coming up?
Fuck the Illuminati. That's we've got a couple episodes coming up for Bad Dinner Guests. Like you said, we're gonna talk Ruby Ridge and Waco tonight. Pride Mix In, Oklahoma City bombing, sort of discuss how this is a precursor to what's going on right here, right now, and that if you need to understand these things that happened when we were 5 and 6 years old,
Right.
and just accepted the school made official story for what it was and just moved on.
You mean the conformity factor?
And then we'll be talking about, I know there was another one besides the political purity. Lou had another one. We were looking into doing a bonus episode on Monday. We'll have to get back to you on that.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Send our text messages.
Lou's been shelling out some gems here lately. So we're gonna keep with the serious talk. Sports show. We may not get to one this week because we've been having, as you guys have noticed, we have some audio problems with my co-host Sean. He's got some bad connection, so
Gotcha.
I'm gonna hope to maybe
We'll
try
sort
to
those
get
out.
a replacement host in or something like that. And short stories are coming up. Lucius will be bringing out a short story here soon.
Where
No,
can we find that?
I did the little air titty grab because I'd be interested in that with football season coming up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're definitely going to be doing some.
Preseason starts in like what?
Why don't you guys talk about your fucking fantasy draft picks?
Well, I was going to actually try to
I'm
start
actually
a
gonna
Bad
play.
Dinner Guest fantasy league and do
Oh,
a
sure.
live draft.
Can I roll the dice for every single one of mine and see if I beat you all?
Yeah, dude, no, that would be
Fuck yes.
that would be
That's
cool.
like part of the fun.
That
dude.
would be part of the fun, is just to kind of show. It's like
What's that show called? Balls Deep?
balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, our sports show, Balls Deep. So we'll
Because
be
this will be
looking
the
out
first
for
year
that.
to do it.
We are reaching out to Madison and Yvonne from Sucker Mag about getting them on Right Strife with Noah soon. So
You do not want to forget Dylan with that shit, though.
I will.
She will fucking hit me in the face, clear from.
I will definitely talk to Dylan about it, but she has. I've heard from Yvonne and Madison through the grapevine that they are interested. That's the only reason. Don't hurt me, Dylan. I didn't mean to leave you out there. But that's really what we've got on our plate. More short stories coming up. More video game videos, all that good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, we were talking about fucking Madison, Yvonne, and Dylan from Sucker Magazine. They were on last week's Bread and Circuses. If you like this episode, definitely check it out. I'm RJ from Six Secret Radio. It looks like Lou is writing me a note right now.
No. I was just jotting down a little reminder. Fuck it, I'll just say it. I have 2 weeks coming where I'll be off in October. Wow, that landed on the fucking speaker. That was really super cool. Like,
we need our video feed.
that was a fucking James Bond moment.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Godfather in the streets, James Bond in the sheets. I have 2 weeks of vacation coming in October, and I wanted to throw it out to everybody in the room. I know Nate would be down to a ghost hunt somewhere.
Down.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm down.
But we're gonna have.
It's around my birthday.
A way to, if we can't live stream it, we're gonna have to find a way to record it.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Maybe that'll be a separate fucking thing that comes out on the Bad Dinner Guest Network.
Yeah.
Lou and his ghost hunting stories.
We'll just turn ectoplasms into ectogasms.
Ectogasms
into its own
Phenomenal.
podcast.
We have the title for it already. It's Ectogasm. So check that out on the Bad Dinner Guest Network. I'm RJ. We got Kevin. We got Lou, and we got Bruce. We'll see you around later.
#PinkyPinky.